Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hivemind Recap podcast.
Podcast.
Ain't no way.
Bro, we took August off. We took August off basically to just like not do anything. We had a very busy July, so we collectively as a group decided we're not going to do anything crazy. Instead, we're going to play Pokemon. And I guess I forgot how to host a podcast.
Yep.
Anyway, welcome back. August 2022 is in the books, and oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I came into the month of August expecting it to be an average month, and I'm here to say I think this is the strongest month for single releases of the year, uncontested.
Oh, easily. This is my favorite.
Yeah. I'm looking at a lot of songs right now.
When it comes to singles, albums are a somewhat different story, but when it comes to singles, we have not had a stronger list of singles to talk about this entire year, and I could maybe even make an argument ever since starting the podcast.
Damn! No, I think August 2019 was also pretty good.
You think I remember what the fuck came out in August 2019?
Yeah,
2020.
Oh,
August
2020 had Stand Atlantic and okay, but those are albums. I'm talking about strictly singles here.
Fair. Smaller bands came to play this month.
For real.
Absolutely.
They really did.
So anyway, welcome back. Be sure to follow us on social media at HivemindRadio_ on Instagram and Twitter. I gave the Canadian man control of the Twitter account, so expect infinitely more shit posts.
Or liking his own tweets that he tweets.
or that.
That's hilarious. That's comedy.
And as always, you can follow the Instagram, which I'm the only one that has access to, so I keep it a little bit less shitpost free.
It's okay. Twitter's a shitposty website.
Yeah.
But definitely follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. We do these episodes live at the beginning of every month, so you can come hang out in the chat with us as we discuss all of our favorite releases from each month. Yeah, that's about it. I don't have too much more to talk about at the intro here. Have I forgotten anything? Have I forgotten to do anything that I would normally do in the 4-ish weeks since we last recorded?
Introduce
us. You already do it.
Yeah, you did forget to introduce us.
I may have forgotten something, so I'm just gonna be doing that right now. So
look,
you guys keep talking, and I'll fix it.
Let's be real, guys. Nobody comes to us for professionalism.
No, definitely not.
If you did, you're in the wrong place.
yeah, like me trying to add all the album artwork in right now. Yeah,
dear God, look, we're not here to have production value, right? We didn't. Our countdown wasn't okay. Let's make sure everything is good to go. Yeah, and everything's good to go.
All right,
we have 1:20 left in this song. Good luck once it's over. We're starting. All right, so you know what you're here for. You know what your expectations are, and I'd say I think we're pretty much matching it at this point. I'd say we're on par.
Yeah.
Par for the course. Despite our 4.5 weeks off.
I mean, if you start off the podcast with "Welcome to the Hivemind podcast,"
sure. Within the first 2 seconds,
off to the
really.
Right start, right?
Yeah, exactly. So easy.
All right, I went to like 4 shows this month, so I'm gonna go through it quickly because I know I could literally talk about it for like 2 hours.
All right, here let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Talk about the show. 60 seconds, go.
60 seconds. I could list all the artists. I can't even list all the artists in 60 seconds. Okay,
you're down to like 50 seconds.
I saw Era, Alpha Wolf, Thornhill, Invent Anime, and they played instrumental set. And then next concert was The Devil Wears Prada and Straight from the Path and Dying Wish. And then the next one was Dance Kevin Dance, Royal Coda, and Body Thief. And then the last one I saw yesterday was Set It Off, Oxymorons, Rain City Drive, and Concrete Castles. And they played an acoustic set. I think that was 60 seconds.
Yep, you made it under 60. You made it under 60.
All right, that's all you get to hear.
Favorite of the 4.
Ooh.
Time's running out.
I think Alpha Wolf was the best performance.
Meanwhile, in Virginia, the Rivals concert got canceled.
Hey, speaking of Rivals, now that Jacob's 60 seconds are basically up, I went to a concert by myself for the first time.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
sir.
And shout out to these boys for encouraging me to go, and
Kicking ass.
even against everything in the world deciding that I should not go to that show, I still made it happen anyway. It might have cost me a $45 Uber, but fuck it.
It's fine. Worth it.
Yeah, I got to see Rivals, which was awesome. I also saw the C4 Cinema, Arya, and Dragged Under. My second time seeing Dragged Under, and they put on one hell of a show once again. Their set was a lot shorter than I expected, but I really went to see Rivals. I've been a fan of that band since 2019, over 3 years at this point, and it took them way too long to finally make their way to Hartford, and I was going to be so pissed at myself if I couldn't see them live. And they put on an awesome show. They are incredible live. We'll talk about Rivals more later because they did drop a new song this month. But shout out to you guys for all encouraging me to go by myself. It really wasn't all that awkward. It was the same amount of awkwardness that I would experience when I went with a friend or with my dad, except I didn't have anyone to talk to in between sets anymore.
Yeah, that's about where you're gonna get.
Dog
You also didn't have a dog.
Yeah.
The dog
we love a dog.
supports you going alone.
Yes, sir.
The next step in my journey of attending concerts is actually like jumping around and maybe entering a mosh pit. I still struggle to muster up the energy to actually lift my feet off the ground.
It's fun. I've gone to multiple
encouraging you.
concerts and I don't do that. I mostly just sit around and chill.
You gotta. I'm
Dog
a big
supports.
advocate. The dog supports.
Dog support.
No, I for real, you're gonna love when you enter your first mosh pit. I know I was like scared to, and then I did, and I was like, oh, I'm never going back. I have to do
Dude,
it at least once per
one-
concert now.
When I went to an Atreyu concert last year, one formed right behind me and I thought I was gonna die.
I did get rammed into. There was a mosh pit during the Dragged Under set, and I did get. I was hugging the wall basically, but I did get pushed into twice.
Hell yeah.
Perfect. The concert going experience.
Yeah. I will say
Make
it
sure
was
you
funny.
shower
I
after.
saw I'm pretty sure I saw Kaylee come out to the pit during the Dragged Under set, and she was like recording, and she's like, "Damn Rivals fans, when y'all gonna do this?" And it's this person. I'm like, interesting. I respect it though. But yeah, that it was really cool, especially having to interview Kaylee and Mickett during the After Hours episode we did with them a few months back, and then to be able to meet them in person was a very cool experience. And I also got a signed poster. So that's up on my wall now.
Sick.
For the first time, the fruits of our labor of 2.5 years of doing this podcast came to life in real life.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Before we move on to actually talking about music, do we want to talk about the Pokemon shit we've been doing, or?
We can briefly talk on it. We've been we've just been hanging out for the last week, 2 weeks, just playing a Pokemon game.
Randomizer.
Yeah, randomizer with like 2v2 teams, and like we do a battle after every gym, and the winning team gets to like use items. The losing team has to
A cage lock, if anybody.
has
Yeah.
to
For any
stay
Pokemon
Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke fans out there.
just try
The
to
results
explain
will
it
be
for all the
posted on
normies.
Twitter.
Yes, sir. Which will
Hopefully.
inevitably be me and Jacob victorious. So
Yes.
that's fine.
Well, yeah, with our luck, and it's fine because Jacob's already dead once, and I've already died once, so it's all right.
Jake
I've
and
got
I,
a
the last two
Kyogre.
remaining purists. Yo, one of these days, he's gonna bring the Kyogre to a battle, and I'm gonna team kill it. Just
I hope so. Please do.
Just say, oh fuck, I misclicked. My bad.
Please do.
Already.
Anyway, let's get talking about this first song. I'm gonna pass it to Justin because he's got control of these first few.
Yeah, so these three are I like to call the out of left fields of the playlist. We're starting off in South Africa with Dream Demon, their new single
From South
Wasted
Africa?
Time.
That's cool. Where the fuck did this come from?
You just said it, South Africa.
Thank you, Jake. I mean, creatively speaking, just like, what the fuck? This band is so talented in the last two singles.
Yeah.
I remember specifically when we talked about the last single that Derek said that this band is the king of just making a breakdown work where it shouldn't. And once again, it rings true
Yeah.
with this song. Like, I still don't love this band. I think this is fine.
How?
Check. Cross it off. It's fine. Cross it off.
Ow.
One song in. I think
Hey.
it's fine.
No, this is
but
easily their best single.
the vocals aren't fully working for me. And
Nah, the
I,
vocals
like-
are great.
like I'm never disappointed when I hear a Dream Demon song at this point. I still think Fool Me is probably my favorite song of theirs, but it's just, I don't know. They fade into the background of everything else that I listen to.
Meanwhile, I think they do screaming and kind of unclaims and metalcore in a way that is more unique than a lot of metalcore bands do. And I think that this band in particular has so much potential. Specifically in the last 2 songs that they've put out, there's just a lot of difference in sound, but also just creative vocal implementation that just they're extremely talented.
Yeah, this isn't as good as Cotton Suspension, which was in like my top 10 songs of the year for a while, but it's still really, really, really solid. And for a band that wasn't on my radar at all at the start of this year, they've really shot up in bands that I'm looking forward to every release from at this point.
This is probably not attached to anything, but if we get an album from them next year, it's gonna be a really good album.
I am once again going to make my point that I want these smaller bands to be releasing EPs. My album list is already way too fucked. I need more EPs.
I mean, after this month, I think we got enough EPs in one month.
Yeah, at one point, almost half of my top 10 EPs of the year were from the EPs we're talking about this month. So, but that's for later. Any last comments on this Dream Demon song?
That's all I got. I really like the breakdown. I'm surprisingly liked the cleans in this more than any other songs, but this one in particular wasn't one of my most played of the month. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, let's get to the next one. We've got Time Evaluator dropping a new single, Ivy.
It's fine.
Oh, there it is. If you guys have the bingo card, you can check that out.
Oh, there was another one in the last single. That's what's infuriating.
This is good. It's also fine.
I don't know about good.
I think
this is not this did not get stuck in my head the same way that Blackwater did in the instrumentation and experimental just
all right.
style of that song.
We need to talk to these bands about their names.
Yes.
They've had this name for a while.
Yeah.
We also made a comment about this last
exactly.
time.
This is a fire ass band name. I will hear no hating.
I stand with
It's
Jacob.
a banger.
I stand with Jacob.
I'm adjusting on this one. This is a good ass band name. I don't want any hating on this one.
I think it's
Name
Time
another
Evaluator.
band that's got a
Time
name like this,
Evaluator
no.
enters the Awaken I Am tier of strange band names that still make good music.
I think it's a dumb
And Rain
reason
City
to
Drive.
have an issue with a band, but okay.
Yup. Look, I think this is not as good as Blackwater. I think the highlights for this and Blackwater for me were both the bass, and I think the bass still shines here, but I think Blackwater surprised me in being better than a lot of the old era of Time the Evaluator that I didn't think they'd be able to beat, and I think Blackwater succeeded in that. I think that this is weaker than a lot of the good material out of the previous era of this band. And so I'm just kind of left like... The Blackwater, I think, may have set too high of a bar starting out with that I don't think this quite matched.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, actually.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, I think this competes well enough where it doesn't blend well. Like, it doesn't blend against Blackwater. I think these both kind of set apart on their own. Me, personally, I really like this, and I've had this more on repeat than Blackwater since Blackwater came out. But that might also be recency bias. But I also really like the lyrics of this song. I liked when the bass hits a bit more in the second verse, and it says, "I'm coming home in case the devil lets me go, but I won't forget the way I used to be until I lost my goddamn soul." And I also really liked the ending part with the with the uncleans coming in saying, "I'm here to burn this hell. This is the new age. I choke your flames. Your empire will fall." I really like his voice inflection on the "Your empire will fall" portion, and then the ending where it says, "Are you ready to burn?" And then it ends. I think this makes for good opener material. I think this would be a really good opener on the same vein of I think I forget what Varsity's opener was, but it had a similar lyric at the end where it was "Hope you enjoy the show," and it led into the album. So I thought that was a really clever way of being a really good opener. Otherwise, I do agree that Blackwater would be better. I just think these both set opposite ends of one another, where you can, just depending on your taste, you can take one or the other. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I think it's just personal preference. But lyrics, comparing these two, lyrics, this band has immense writing talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of immense talent, how are we feeling about this new Outline and Color song called "Do Your Worst" featuring Loveless?
Do your worst, that's what you do, babe. Blame it all on me. Pull that trigger, no bulletproof vest.
This is their best song since whatever the Kaylee Wolf feature was
Punishment.
back in
This is their best song, period.
That's what I was about to say. This might just be their best song, period.
Oh no. Well, okay, so are we all in agreement that it's either number 1 or number 2?
Yeah.
I would say number 2 behind Ghost
I
of
would
You.
say number 1.
It's number 2 for me behind Punishment. So we're all Hivemind in 92% effect right now. We'll take
92
it.
and a half.
92 and a half. But what is that in Canadian percentages?
That's how fractions work.
Gotta convert it to Celsius.
Okay.
This is also off an upcoming album. I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
I'll get it. Don't worry.
I
got you.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. And Loveless features are feeling like Courtney LaPlante features from last year, where they feel oversaturated. Starting to feel that way.
They do feel a little oversaturated. This is
this song.
This is the best feature that I've ever heard Julian do.
I'd be willing to agree with that. And I also think that Courtney LaPlante might be a fucking horrible comparison, considering that every feature her and Julian do, they absolutely kill. Outside of that one,
oh, come on, we have Vanished Canvas.
Yeah, I was about to say Vanished Canvas. That was a fumbled opportunity. That could have been Song of the Year, and instead it was dog shit, but I digress. Anyway, I think that at this point, Julian might have dethroned Kellen Quinn at this point as the most guaranteed solid feature of all time.
Yeah.
I am really loving everything that they're doing. This is phenomenal. And
talk about capitalizing on success as well.
Oh yeah,
goddamn, Loveless is they have
popped off.
Nailed just about everything they have tried to do at this point. From the first singles leading into the debut album to all the covers and the success that those covers have had. Now that Julian's expanding into doing all these features, just the Loveless package and Julian just. It's a guarantee.
We've been fans since the beginning, Julian.
Yeah, I still remember when Eric sent me For You, and they had less than 5,000 monthly listeners at that point.
I don't even think
we've been here since the beginning, Julian. Come here.
It's been...
Come on the podcast.
It's been. I think they were at 3,000 or 4,000 when we first found them. So
we're the
that's a chip on our shoulder.
Yes.
Exactly. We're OG Loveless fans. But all that to say, not to talk too much about Loveless on an Outline and Color song.
Yeah.
The album is called Coast is Clear, and it comes out on October 14th. And this has me excited. I mean, obviously Julian sounds good because it's Julian, but I think he pairs really, really nicely with the Outline and Color vocals here, and just everything about this and the way it flows and how it sounds vocally and instrumentally is just so solid. It's really good.
My biggest problem with Outline and Color in the past has been that their mixing and production hasn't been super crisp.
Yeah.
But this song feels like they've nailed it. Literally the single that came out before this had the mixing and production issues that I've always associated with them since the Imposter Syndrome EPs. and then Julian just pairs so well with it that, like, even if Loveless wasn't featured on this song, this would still be one of my favorite Outlining Color songs.
It should also be mentioned, since the last time we talked about them, because I don't think we talked about their last single before this, they have signed to Thriller Records, so they may also be playing a portion into the mixing and producing.
We will be bringing them up again later. Thriller Records, I mean. Another band we're going to talk about signed to them after their newest single. So that's cool. I didn't realize that they're picking up a bunch of these smaller scene bands.
Let's move on. We got more features to talk about. There were so many amazing features this month, and I say we're moving into another great one. Paul Bartolome has come out with a brand new song, Paralyzed, featuring Danny Leal of Upon a Burning Body.
I'm gonna shut my mouth.
I have not really listened to Upon a Burning Body, other than being generally aware of they are a heavy as fuck metalcore band. Am I wrong?
I mean, I wouldn't say, like, heavy as fuck. They're heavy. I can think of at least 20 heavy as fuck metalcore bands, and I don't think Upon a Burning Body are on the same level, but semantics, you know. So I'll give it to you. Yes. For all intents and purposes, yes.
So I was a little nervous because I had this perception that it was going to be, like, brutally heavy, like, heavier than I would tolerate. And it's on that line, but goddamn, it works. And I think there's an argument to be made that this is my favorite Paul Bartolome song, period.
I think the chorus in this is one of my favorites.
I don't think I'd go that far, Jake, but it is pretty good.
I think this is one of the best choruses, and the pre-chorus especially. I forgot to grab the lyrics. I looked up the lyrics for a bunch of songs earlier, and the lyrics were not available for this one. I forgot to write them down. But the lyrics of the pre-chorus and the vocal delivery of those lyrics is fantastic. One of the most memorable Paul Bartolome moments that I can think of, where a lot of his songs are good, but they're always really solid, but they lack that moment that really has it stuck in my head. This song has that moment, and it has multiple of them.
I will say, I don't like the feature in this, and it generally, like, puts me off from liking the song any further. Otherwise, I think it's just a really solid Paul Bartolome.
All right. I need help here. The intro riff reminds me of a Wage War song, and I can't remember which Wage War song it is.
Paul Bartolome sounding like Wage War did not have my 2022 bingo card, but this is pretty good. I really, contrary to Justin, which, you know, we all expected maybe, that I like the feature probably is the most, or I like the feature the most. It's my favorite part of this song. Justin, I know that the uncleans aren't always your thing, so I'll take one for the team.
I will say, though, I think I have a lot of singles that have surprisingly amount of uncleans in this playlist.
Yeah, Dream Demon coming to mind.
Yeah, that one.
Paul Bartolome are really killing it, dude. I need to check their monthly listeners. Yeah, that needs to be higher. It's at 28,000. That needs to be more.
We're recording this in September, and they have news of part 2 of Reflections coming out this month. So we'll probably get that and be talking about them in the next episode.
It is Don't Let Me Fade Away.
Okay. I'll have to get familiar. I've heard that. It's been years since I heard that, I think. Right? Don't Let Me Fade. Now I gotta make sure I'm thinking of the right song. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been about 3 years. But no, every fucking time, dude. Every time I try to say, and I'm gonna have to take it. Paul Bartolome. Every time I try to say it, I stroke out, bro. Oh man. Yeah, so good. Everything they're doing this year has been phenomenal, and I am so excited for this EP.
I agree.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, this is better than anything off of Reflections Part 1. If this is the lead single for Part 2 and going to be on the eventual album, things are looking real good.
Yeah.
Everything in both these EPs is going to be on the combined Reflections album. I think, as well as all the singles from, like, Criminal onward. I will say I think Fractures is better than this from Part 1. But that's just
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I think this is probably, out of all the songs you released on Part 1 and then this is probably my second favorite behind Fractures. But I have a feeling that once that one with the feature comes out, you know the one. That's gonna be my new favorite Paul Bartolome song.
Shh.
Speaking of phenomenal features, Guardin is back with his newest song, Highway, featuring Sewer Person.
Yes, you are the digest. Swallow what you feel, measure it out in the Pyrex. I guess I'm less invested in side quests. Quasimodo mindset.
Y'all, look, I will never not love Guardin, and I will never not love Sewer Person. So having them together on the same track feels illegal. Like this feels like the cheat code to my top 10 songs of the year. Like he up down left right A B bam coming in number 5. Like oh, this song is so fucking good and so replayable. Every single off this upcoming album, Creatures Together, I believe, September 30th, has had insane replayability, and this is no different. The beat on this flows so nicely, and especially with the vocals. I'm used to this more melodic, slower, toned down style from Sewer Person back when he was making music as Ninetales. The Sewer Person stuff has been a lot more bouncy and upbeat, and he's experimented with uncleans a lot on a lot of his newer music. And so this has been kind of almost like a callback to some of his older style. And this has lyrical callbacks too to old Garden songs.
Yes.
I thought that the "Hey You, I just called again to say I've been doing fine, so please don't worry about a thing" was a callback to Evergreen, which I think I pointed out like a couple weeks ago when this dropped. It's actually a callback to his song Fate from about 5 years ago, and the lyrics from Fate are, "Hey you, I just called again to say sorry for the things I do. I haven't been okay." And so it's kind of this like juxtaposition. Sorry if you heard my dryer; it just closed. I'm gonna have to go deal with that.
We don't
turn
hear.
it off. But anyway, that 5 years later he's actually doing better and he can represent that in his music. And then obviously during the Sewer Person feature, the more direct callback to Take Away the Pain, which I believe is also from 5 years ago and was my first exposure to Garden. So it's really cool to hear. I love the lyrics here. Besides the callbacks, I think hypothetically, if I was there, would there be more to say? Would you tell me to my face or wait it out another day? In terms of like confronting, maybe breaking up with your significant other when there's a lot of like time and space between you, is something that I can relate to with like past experiences. So I thought that was really cool. And then in Sewer Person's part, if you love me how I love you, it'd be boring, baby. It's true that like as much as it can hurt to like recognize that you love your significant other more than they love you, that like that pain and self-deprecation is something that you enjoy. You don't really know how to like escape that cycle. I always find that with both of these artists, they manage to express feelings like depression, anxiety, substance abuse, self-deprecation, all of that in ways that really feel personal in terms of the way that they express it and also feel very easy to connect to, and this song's no different. And then I guess like the last thing that I wanted to say before I toss this over to Jacob, because he's somehow managed to listen to this more than me, is
It's
that
funny.
yeah, the steady
He
progression.
also saw them live, so
Yeah, whatever, man.
Both of them.
That the way that the delivery on some of these lines flow is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest one for me was I'm less invested in side quests, Quasimodo mindset, death is what I might check, mic check. Was like I heard that and like I went, bro. Like, just had to sit back in my chair and be like, damn, hell yeah. I don't know, everything that both of these artists do in each of their individual music, I really, really enjoy. So when you put them together, it just creates this 11 out of 10 song that I love. But despite how much I love it, Jacob's listened to it more than me, so I need to hear what he's got to say.
See, I actually think this is my least favorite single.
What the fuck? No,
But
you're tripping.
no, it's definitely is my least favorite single.
Damn.
I think, like you said, the replayability and I don't know, it almost sounds like video game-ish soundtrack in the background. I had that stuck in my head. Like, even if I can't pick up like what the lyrics are saying like all the time, like I have
The melody
that
of it.
melody stuck in my head, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I gotta listen to this song because it's stuck in my head. I didn't really find myself connecting with the lyrics too much, but I did enjoy it, and I'm not as big of a Sewer Person fan as you. I think that's probably why it's my least favorite
Yeah.
single.
Yeah.
The reason I like Guardin is basically because of his vocal inflection,
Mm.
and yeah, that's mainly why. Yeah, no, not just Sewer Person. I just haven't got into him, so.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see different people's responses to this because, like, obviously, this is going to be my favorite single, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it would have to be real. You would have to fumble the bag really hard to make a Garden featuring Sewer Person song not be my favorite single, and like, there's no way that these artists are going to do it. But like, I've got a friend, Nov, who doesn't like Garden all too much, and he can't get into anything from Sewer Person, and he's listened to this song like 200 times. So, and then like you're saying it's your least favorite single and you haven't been able to connect with it as much, whereas it's my, I think this for me, the response this has been very interesting and a demonstration of like just how subjective music can be and like the way that it connects with different people and how.
Yeah.
Justin and Jake, I'm kind of just assuming that you guys didn't fuck with this, but I could be wrong and I'd be happy to be. So let me know if that's off base.
You would be wrong on that, actually. I gave this a listen and thought it was pretty good. Again, I think I talked about this one podcast episode, but it kind of harkens back to that kind of Eden vibe that I used to like. Not my thing much anymore.
Oh yeah,
I'm more into when the instrumentals kind of play a bigger part. But
Yeah.
I thought this was pretty good.
Justin just triggered something in me. That Castle with Cobwebs song by Sad Eyes you showed me
Yeah.
fucking slaps.
That's a slap. Shout out Sad Eyes. Check out Sad Eyes to another artist with Sewer Person Garden who kind of came up around that same time. Really, really good. Jake, did you like this? Be honest.
Monthly garden check. It's another garden song.
It's fine. I got
Next
3.
month you get a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like we got 3 out of 4 this time around. I'll take it. No, I really like this. I'm super excited for this album. I can't remember the last time, quite frankly, that I was this excited for an album to drop, especially because it's not every day that I get a Garden album. And the last one I found it dropped on December 31st, 2020, so I didn't get to consider it at all for the monthly recap or whatever, and it made me kind of sad. So yeah, so I'm really happy that we get one, and I can't wait to listen to it and talk about it. I'm so excited. But
I will say, this is my favorite artwork of all singles.
yes. Speaking of fantastic songs, Dayshell have dropped their newest single, Letting Go.
You better believe I'm letting go. Hope you watching's over.
I really don't know if this is attached to anything. I'm not positive, but this is the best Dayshell song, and this slaps.
This is really good.
This also reminds me of a Wage War song, or the intro does at least.
That one, I don't know. I was gonna say that I haven't heard an intro riff like this in a long time.
Oh yeah,
if ever. Yeah, the way that it sounds is so unique. It's so crispy and punchy. Yeah. I think the bass is mixed or tuned up really loud, and it gives it a lot more oomph that I really enjoy. So this is there's only one person in Dayshell. And it's Shaylee, I think it's Bourget is his last name. He was the old, I believe, clean vocalist for Of Mice and Men before Aaron Pauley joined. So this is his band.
He is the guitarist and bassist.
Yes. I don't know if he programs the drums or outsources them or whatever, but kind of. So we were just talking about Eden, kind of like Eden. It's a one-man project. And in saying that, I have the same impression of Eden and Dayshell, and it's how the fuck does one person make music with so many facets that sounds this good? This I enjoyed Nexus. Nexus is my first exposure to Dayshell, and then when Mr. Pain came out, I enjoyed a couple songs off of that. But I think that this blows everything off of both of those albums out of the water, and this is phenomenal. The rasp on Letting Go when the chorus first kicks in,
Yep.
the lyrical content in general about, getting over an ex and being like, you know what, fuck it, I hope he treats you the way you wished I did. I've had enough of you. I'm not going to think about you anymore. I'm letting go. Which is reflected in the artwork too, which is really cool about the birdcage, letting the bird fly with the whole metaphor of if you love something, you'll let it go, and if it's meant to be, it'll come back type of thing. Which I believe originated with like a pet bird or something. I don't remember.
That just reminded me of Future Palace Escape. That
yeah.
as well. I'm a big fan of that metaphor.
I'm
gonna interject.
Yeah.
This is a part of a fourth album. It is currently in the GoFundMe stage for Operation Pegasus. Is the crowdfund campaign they're doing? He's trying to get it fully fan crowdfunded. So,
how much is the goal? Do you know?
50,000.
Oh shit!
It's at 13,000 right now. And
all right,
well, the link literally dropped the 30th August.
Oh, okay,
So,
perfect.
It's on good track right now.
I'm gonna need this interview that I have next Friday to go well for my salary position, so that I can donate to making the Dayshell album happen, because I need more of this. Look, if there was ever a song to convince me to want to crowdfund an album, this is the one. I love this, and I am really, really excited for this album if and or when it happens.
I don't think I can add too much because, like, next to Outline in Color and Paul Bartolome, when this song dropped, I just spent way too much time with those songs compared to this. But this is really good, and for my first exposure to Dayshell, I'm definitely intrigued to check out more of their older material.
For sure.
Yeah, I didn't get to this, but I listened to it while you guys were talking, and it sounded good. So I'll have to go back to it.
It's really good. I think Mr. Payne's probably my favorite album of theirs, and Nexus is a classic. I think those two are probably the best albums to go check out. Speaking of things that I am excited for, Devin Barris has dropped his newest single, Broken Mirror, which is off of an upcoming EP of new and reimagined acoustic songs. To the best of my understanding, so Devin Barris, lead singer of Sunsleep, and a couple other projects in the past. This EP, I think, has a couple new kind of acoustic, chiller vibe songs, some reimagined versions of Sunsleep songs. I think the next single is going to be Haze, and then some older material that either didn't get released with old projects or old projects material. The bands are now no longer together. But he's going to be reimagining and performing some of those old songs. So I'm really excited for that because it's going to expose me to old Devin Barris projects that I didn't know existed, which is always a good thing for me. I think Devin Barris is one of the only people who could make me sit down and like really be invested and enjoy a 4-minute long acoustic song. And I wish that his solo stuff and Sunsleep had more exposure, because he reminds me a lot of Julian from Loveless in a way, because he has an incredible voice. He can do both cleans and uncleans. He self-produces all of his own music, and it always sounds incredible. And I need him to blow up. I want him to blow up. I think he deserves to blow up in the same way that Julian has. Because listening to his voice here and the small little production notes here and there, and to know that he's doing it all himself, one man out of, just a studio in his either apartment or basement, is really, really incredible. And I've checked out every single one of his solo songs, and I have like 13 or 14 saved, and I'm pretty sure I'm the #1 Devin Barris listener in the world last time I checked. And he's only got like 1,200 monthly listeners on his solo stuff, which is criminal because there's so many good songs in his discography. So I need something to pop off soon because this dude deserves the world. But his voice is incredible. I love this. I know maybe for y'all 4 minutes acoustic, I'd be happy if it is 4 minutes of the acoustic type of slow vibe like this may not have been as much up your alley, but I really fucking dig this, and I'm excited for this EP.
Yeah, not
I like
really
this.
for me.
Yo, Justin, you said you liked it?
Yeah, no.
Let's go! I figured if there was anybody, I could count on you.
That's what I'm here for.
You know what I was thinking about today? This is totally going off topic, and I'm
Got
very
you.
sorry.
What
But
you got?
I was thinking, like, out of all of us, like, for myself, who in the hive mind has the closest music taste to me, and for each other person, like, who has the closest music taste to, like, each other in the hive mind? Like, who's Derek's closest, who's Justin's closest, who's Jake's closest?
At this point, I think I'm closest to Justin, and Jacob, I think you're closest to Derek.
Yeah. I think
What do
we
you
made too many Jacobs turning into me jokes.
Yeah.
Like, for
Yeah.
this point for it to not.
That's
I think
true.
there's like a
But
Venn diagram that kind of overlaps me and
it's
Derek.
it's interesting because you get like Justin and I will overlap with bands like Imminence or Noia, and then like Derek and I are like guardin and like deathcore, and then
Yeah.
Jake and I are like some metalcore and
Battlemans.
stuff.
And then
Yeah.
me and Derek got pop rock on lockdown.
Yeah.
We've got Stadium Rock, Jake.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. The rock side of Justin, that's half of his Venn diagram overlaps with Jake, and then the post-hardcore side, it's like me and Jacob kind of overlap into that more. Because you know me, I'm not huge into Stadium Rock, although we maybe discuss this some later or something kind of like that.
Oh,
It was really
absolutely.
good. I don't know, but yeah, no, I think Jacob and I are probably closest in terms of like the heavier side of things as well as the
Mhm.
softer side. Because I remember 2019, he was like, "Yo, check out Chelsea Grin." I'm like, "Oh, this is sick." Here, Jacob, check out Guardin. Like,
Oh, this is sick.
I remember the first time I heard Limbs, I was in the bathroom of my community college, I was taking a piss, and I was like, "Oh man, this fucks." Like, anyway,
Yeah, tangent over.
tangent over.
Yeah.
Devin
Devin
Barr
Barr is good.
Devin Barr is good, incredibly talented. Go check this out. Check out Sunsleep. I will forever shill Sunsleep. Dude's immensely talented. I love it.
I may not love this song, but I will always back you up on that hype train. Anyway, a new band for the podcast, Delane, have dropped a brand new song called The Quest and the Curse.
It's the quest and the curse of us all.
This is me bringing in the kind of symphonic power metal side, the very minor symphonic power metal side of my music taste into the podcast. So, for some quick history brought to you by Wikipedia.com, Delaney is a Dutch symphonic metal band formed in 2002.
Wow.
And in February 2021, the guy that formed the band kicked out everyone else, and this summer reinvigorated the entire band with an entirely new lineup. And this is their first release with that entirely new lineup. So new vocalist, new other people, whatever. I think this is really good. Given that Amaranth are, for the first time in like 8 years, not releasing an album in October of a year that ends in an even number. This is satisfying my Amaranth desires for the moment.
I was gonna
It's
say
so
this,
funny that you know that.
Bro,
this is
it happened literally every 2 years in October from 2014 onwards. They had a new album.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I feel like
it
Ice Nine
was
Kills
stupid.
is going to be like that too, honestly.
yeah.
But not every 2
At
years.
this point, if they're committing to yeah.
It's always
So,
gonna be
given that
October.
Amaranth are not doing that, me stumbling across this, having heard that they just redid their entire lineup, basically, I was intrigued to check it out, and I was not disappointed. I think the dynamic of the harsh vocalist is actually really interesting, because I had a hard time telling, but there's actually 2 different harsh vocals going
for
on in
real?
this song. Yeah.
Hmm.
didn't
In the
know
music
that.
video, their guitarist and their bassist are both doing the unclean vocals, and they sound extremely similar to the point where you almost can't tell. But in the music video, it's the 2 of them, and like with like the music video, you can that kind of helps distinct the 2, in my opinion. And I think the new female vocalist Diana that they have for this band, obviously is like the centerpiece of the band at this point.
Yeah.
As is for most symphonic metal bands. And I think she does a great job filling in. Definitely a band that I'm curious to hear more from. I quite enjoyed this.
I really like enjoyed the symphonic elements of this, honestly. Like
Oh yeah.
it sounds like epic, and
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea of it, but
The thing about symphonic metal is that there's a point where it enters cringe territory. There's a
There's a
level
fine
of-
line.
There's a very fine line to symphonic metal without sounding like too on the nose, and I think this is symphonic metal done really well. And I mean, obviously, if the one guy's been a part of the band for 2 decades at this point, clearly he's got something figured out. And even with an entirely new lineup, like, you've got that reliable backbone of this band that's gonna keep it going on even with an entirely new lineup. So definitely curious to see where this goes.
All right, Justin.
All right,
This
we
is
got
you.
a new release from Point North with their new track "Recover."
We're all just waiting for the day. We're not stuck in the same place. We started from we're under.
Banger.
This is easily one of the best Point North songs.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
There's one thing that has ticked me off about this song though.
Oh, all right.
And it doesn't really tick me off, but it's just something it threw me off the first few times I heard it. It's the lyric in the second verse. When an old white man couldn't keep it in his pants, he'll flip-flop like a TikTok trend.
Yes, so the entire song is about abortion rights.
Yeah.
So that's,
Oh, it is?
It's
Yeah,
about
no.
the whole Roe v. Wade
Oh,
thing.
well, I knew
Yeah,
I didn't
it's-
realize it's about Roe v. Wade. I
yeah,
thought it
no,
was
it's
about gun
100%
control.
about Roe v. Wade. No. So, No One's Listening was about ICE.
Immigration and ICE.
Yeah, immigration.
Yeah.
Uh,
That music
this
video
one-
fucked me up the first time I saw it.
I know, it was so surprising, and this one is purely about Roe v. Wade. You can definitely tell because one of the lyrics in the second verse is "As their bodies turn to policy." So,
See, I
I
took
wanna-
that as like the bodies of like kids stacking up in schools is what I thought it was. So I thought this was about gun control. And it's like, damn, if you don't control the guns, we're gonna take the guns and kill the politicians who like refuse to do anything and take matters into
Hey
our
man,
own hands.
music
I
is
can see-
subjective.
I can-
You could interpret it that way.
yeah, I can see how you can interpret that, but no, just
Yeah.
with
I didn't know
the
if they
second,
said it outright or anything like that. Like, did they say it was about abortion rights? Like, did they
it
make a
was
statement?
released around the same time the Roe v. Wade was
Okay,
happening.
yeah, I got you.
I want to double back to the TikTok trend lyric though, because in my head, that's a lyric that I feel like should not age very well. That feels
No.
like
Yeah, I think you're
something
right.
you like, like all those COVID songs that released in 2020 that are
Yeah.
just like awful now. He'll flip flop like a TikTok trend. Sounds like one of those lines that should age poorly, but I don't think it will.
Well, so here's the thing: is that I don't think this song is meant to age. I think
No.
it's meant for now because
Yeah.
it's an urgent
Yeah.
issue
Mhm.
type of thing, you know. So it doesn't matter what they put in it as long as it invigorates anybody who spreads
Yeah.
the message that needs to be heard right
But the
now.
thing is, even 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I don't feel like that line is going to age that poorly.
well, I
But
would
it feels
say
like it should.
that if this song ages and is no longer relevant in 3 years, then I think it did its job.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I just think it's more of a point of like bands
Yeah.
taking current trends into their music, and there's some trends that age poorly, whereas I feel like
Yeah.
referencing TikTok in a lyric, I don't feel like that's something that's going to age very poorly, given how like TikTok has taken over social media
Yeah,
over the
it's
past
so
few
crazy.
years.
I mean, it's also synonymous because it could very well just not be TikTok. You can change that with literally any social media space.
Yeah.
People know what you're talking about because everyone knows how a trend works, like an Instagram trend or a Facebook trend. Everyone knows how those work, so it's kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
Few years from now, when whatever
God,
happens
I
with
hope
TikTok.
TikTok doesn't exist in fucking 3 years. I'm so sick of that app.
I mean,
Anyway.
it's what happened with Vine, but that's
Yeah.
one thing or another.
I don't know. I
I'm-
sound like a
all
boomer
that
every
to,
time I
all
talk
that
about
to
TikTok.
say, I thought it was just an interesting point of like how well is a line like that going to age, or how well
Yeah.
does a song that's so relevant now
Yeah.
we'll look at it in a few years from now and what's the difference. All that being said, I still think this song is incredible. This is the heaviest Point North have been in a long time.
Yeah.
And
Breakdown
I think
slaps.
I think vocally, John puts up an incredible vocal performance. My second favorite song since their album, I still adore "Stitch Me Up" from last year. But this really knocked my socks off. The first time I heard it, I was like, okay, this is my new favorite song of the month. Like, blew me away on first listen. Didn't
no.
last very long, but
easily this is comparable with everything off of
Brand new vision.
the Brand New Vision.
Yeah.
I personally have not jived with any of the singles
No.
that have released,
Fuck no.
and this one really put me back on their radar, or put them back on my radar. I think it's really good, especially toward the end, the last verse where the lyrics change. When we all recover, we're all just waiting for the day when no one has to die in vain.
Mhm.
I think that was just really, really good use. And
Yeah.
if there's one thing the Point North's got, I think they have a really good idea on how to create music and how to theme it around problems at hand. But I
Yeah.
also think that can be a detriment because,
Well,
you know, I feel like if people have trauma from it, I feel like that's gonna maybe detract them from the song. But
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
I that's kind of just a personal preference,
Yeah, well-
concern with me. I genuinely, I don't think that's gonna be a concern. I think this is gonna be fine.
Well, I was honestly pretty surprised because, I mean, you know me, I've expressed my distaste for lyrics that are very on the nose in the past, or, you know, something like a TikTok trend or whatever. But
Go
honestly,
like
I
Danny
think,
Phantom.
yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but like, yeah. But I honestly found that I didn't really have any issue with it in this song. Not like what social issues aside, that I think that the way that it's delivered works really well. I have not heard a delivery as smooth this year as the way that they worked in "No Justice, No Peace" to that breakdown. I would have never thought to like put it that way, like with that. The words escaping me. Like the way that it's spoken incrementally, like the tempo of like is normally "No Justice, No Peace," and the way that they like changed up the way that it's said to fit the tempo of the breakdown works amazingly. This is the post-hardcore Point North that I know and love, and I want them to keep making music like this from here on out if they can help it. But
Yeah, no, if this is the sound that they're gonna go with for now on, like, give me more. I would love an album that's central around this sound.
yeah,
But I think they're gonna probably stick more with the punk kind of sound. The songs like "Stitch Me Up" and all that we're on, and I feel like they're gonna kind of.
You can slander the rest of the singles. I will not accept this "Stitch Me Up" slander.
Too bad.
Are we all good to move on to this next one? I feel like we've had a fair
Yes.
discussion.
Yeah.
about
I
this.
am so ready.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's talk about it. Sweeping with Sirens put out a brand new song called "Let You Down" featuring Charlotte Sands.
'Cause I will never let you down. I will never let you fade away. Another day, don't run away, don't run away.
When this dropped, like day one that this dropped, I had it on repeat all day, and by the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, this is in feature of the year contention.
Yeah,
Charlotte
this
Sands
is-
and Kellen Quinn is a magical duo.
Uh,
It is so fucking good.
You know what
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, you know what I thought about when I saw that this is a Charlotte Sands feature? I was like, you know, Under Oath did this. Now Sleeping with Sirens do this. I feel like Asking Alexandria is gonna do this next, and then like Pierce the Veil. All these old school bands that are arguably
Charlotte
been
Sands.
around for. No, actually, I'm not gonna say that.
You're gonna
But-
say too long.
Yeah, unrelated. Give me a Memphis May Fire featuring Charlotte Sands, please. Make it happen.
Ooh.
Ooh, that could go kind of crazy.
Anyway, so I just want to talk about how well Charlotte Sands integrates into the song, and they give her a chorus to sing. When a feature happens and you give the feature an entire chorus to themselves, that's a stamp of approval if I've ever heard one.
Yep.
And then the way that they throw the vocals back and forth between Kellen and Charlotte in the breakdown, and then the way that they have the harmony going in the last chorus, it's just Kellen's high-pitched vocals match Charlotte Sand so well. And this Sleeping with Sirens album is shaping up to be a sleeper hit, in my opinion.
Charlotte Sands needs to be a permanent member of Sleeping with Sirens after this song. They would never not drop album of the year if Charlotte Sands was a member of Sleeping with Sirens. All right, I'm gonna keep it real. Okay, you give me like a triple fronted band of like Kellen Quinn and oh god, her name escapes me and I feel bad for it, but the lead singer of Concrete Castles.
Audra.
For the clean vocalist.
I learned that yesterday.
Okay. No, wait, not Concrete Castles. Fuck, the other one. The oh no. Guys,
Bro,
this
you
is
can't
really
even
bad.
remember
They
the
dropped
band.
Messi last year. Why
Conquer
am I
Divide.
tripping?
Conquer Divide.
Yes, that one. Too many conks. Too many conks.
Too many conks.
You were literally thinking about this
Derek, you've been
episode.
conk bonked.
Bro, I've been conk funk, bro. My brain ain't working tonight. That's on you. Oh man,
Too many conks.
too many fucking conks.
That's
Look.
an episode title if I've ever heard one.
This slaps. It's been so long since I found a Sleeping with Sirens songs that I can enjoy. I mean, like it's taken like a decade of albums, but I love this. Then the production notes at the end, the electronic thing, it puts such a nice bow on a fantastic song. I love this.
Charlotte Sands features, I think, are starting to be in that same tier of like a Julian or a Loveless feature is like a
Helen Quinn
guaranteed
feature.
hit. Like Helen Quinn feature is a guaranteed hit. A Charlotte Sands feature, 9 times out of 10 is a hit.
Philip Strand
Mhm.
feature.
Those are rare though. The thing about Charlotte Sands has kind of been hitting the feature game up, just like Julian. Let's move
Victor
on.
King have dropped their newest single, "And the Other Side."
The album announcement, right?
Yes, when is that?
I want to say October, but I could be wrong.
I think it's October.
I think it's
sounds
October,
right.
yeah.
I think 3rd or 4th week of October.
First thing I want to mention about the song is the breakdown at the end. Once again, Reaper had a crazy breakdown at the end, and they followed up with parentheses, the other side, with yet another stupid, crazy, weird breakdown, and I'm kind of here for it.
Death Comes for Us All is
I-
such a good call out.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly, but I feel like the rest of the song is kind of eh.
I don't like this as much as Reaper.
What the fuck?
See- Give Reaper this breakdown, and Reaper's like the best song ever.
Reaper's
It's-
breakdown slapped, though.
It's so weird to hear Jake say that because this has like cleans and Reaper doesn't, and I would have thought that Jake would have liked this better simply for the fact that there's a clean
Dude.
chorus.
I need Tuck to go back to the cleans.
Yes.
The thing is, I really like the Queen vocals here. I was going to mention that I think that Ryan Kirby's Queen vocals have gotten significantly better.
Oh, yeah.
They have gotten
like,
better, but they're not Tuck.
I listened.
so-
When I listened to Dark Skies at the beginning of this year, I didn't really like that album nearly as much. The Path was a top 10 album of 2020 for me, and Dark Skies was just meh.
What
See,
am I hearing?
So
What am I hearing?
The reason why I like this so much is because it feels like the best parts of the Path and the best parts of Dark Skies meshed together into one song, and they said
That's a good way
that's
to
what
put
this
it.
album was going to be, and so this to me is Reaper. It felt more like Dark Skies, but even then I didn't really feel it as much. This to me feels like what they promised we were going to get, and I really like it. You know, I think that Reaper. It's really basic of me to say, but I didn't like the fact that Reaper didn't have any cleans in it, just because like you have Ryan Kirby and Tuck in the same fucking band. There's too much talent on cleans
doesn't
there
do
not
it
to use
anymore.
it. What?
I don't think Tuck doesn't do cleans anymore, does he?
I mean, he did on the last album for some bits of it, I think.
Oh, I thought he was stepping down from that. Anyways,
Anyway, well, either way, I mean, the fact that they've got 2 vocalists that can do cleans as well as that, I want all of their songs to have cleans. It could be 90% uncleans for all I care, but it feels like you're underutilizing the talent within
That's
your
fair.
band if it's not there. So I didn't like Reaper as much.
If Reaper
but
is one
I
of
thought
like
it was
2
really
songs
good.
on the album that are entirely uncleans, I am more than happy with that.
Oh yeah, I mean Reaper was still good. I think that this is a better display of what I want from Fit for a King than Reaper is.
Reaper maybe wasn't the best lead single.
No, see, I don't think this would have been good as a lead single either, though, because it sounds a lot like The Path, and they promised to switch up. I get it now. I said I didn't get it when Reaper dropped as a lead single. Hearing this as the second single, I get why Reaper was the first. I understand. It's making sense now. I apologize to Fit for a King. I didn't trust the vision.
I'm excited for this album again, though. Dark Skies, I heard it earlier this year. It left me underwhelmed, so I'm excited to be back on the Fit for a King hype train.
there's so many.
Uh-oh.
This is the least excited I've been for a Fit for a King album.
Damn.
I agree.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
Thank you, Justin.
Man.
Garrick, this is part of our Venn diagram.
We're venting.
Come
right
on.
now.
If this third single could totally change my mind. But thinking about it, like last album, second single was God of Fire.
Oh, that was a banger. That's still a banger. So I will say I have seen, because I think I follow Ryan Kirby on Twitter. And
Yeah, I
I've seen
saw
some
that
tweets.
post.
Yeah, that it's gonna be different, is what he said.
I heard
It's
it's
gonna
like
be
a
fit for a
big
king, it's
mashup
gonna
of
be
like
different.
a lot of songs. Like I saw Vendetta was in there, and
All right.
Oh,
Well,
now we gotta find this tweet.
I hit 225 bench to Vendetta, so if it's anything like Vendetta, this is about to be album of the year. But like, no, I really like this. I know you mentioned prior to this that you weren't as high on it, and we'll see. I guess it depends on what your expectations are for Fit for a King, because I think Dark Skies is like the better album cohesively overall, but I think that the highs of the path were better. So if I get the best parts of both, and I think this demonstrates that, then I'm gonna be very happy with this Fit for a King album.
The last comment I want to leave with this song is that I think this song is solid, but compared to everything else that entered my playlist, this was one of the more underwhelming songs. And I think that speaks more to just how much I loved everything else that came out.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. That I as much as I do like this as a single, there were a lot of other songs this month that really stole my attention away. And nothing about this. It feels like a good Fit for a King song, but it doesn't feel like a song that's phenomenal enough to really hook me in over a lot of the other songs that did that.
Speaking of those songs that were a little bit better, Until I Wake have dropped a brand new song, Hope You're Happy.
This is the best single since Octane.
This is the best single since Nightmares.
You like this better than Octane?
Yeah.
Oh,
I like the deathcore breakdown.
I didn't like that. Otherwise, this would have been my favorite since Less of Me.
Dude, I was starting to lose faith in Until I Wake.
me too.
And this has completely course corrected. Ignore Forsaken. Ignore what was
Fake.
the other one?
Fake
Grew on me actually. Fake grew on me quite a bit.
Oh, I
Hope
didn't
You're
like that.
Happy. Hope You're. Oh my god, this song is incredible.
It's so good.
Lyrically, this song, it's like one of those songs where you almost can't pick out lyrics because everything, you need to hear everything to be able to put the story together of how
Mhm.
this is a song about a relationship that falls apart and like what it means to like someone that like truly cared about the relationship
Yeah, and I
and like
real quick,
struggling with that grieving process.
I wanted to say that the sound bites that they add, like the start and the end, really add to the atmosphere and the way
Yes.
that story plays out. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. I also just think like the mellow tone of the verses before the chorus just comes in and hits you with a huge anthemic sound. I adore the vocal delivery of "Don't look back when you walk away. You made your choice when you abandoned me." Just the vocal delivery on those two lines. I was stomping around my room, lip syncing those lyrics for a few nights.
Yeah. No, this is a return to form with that debut EP, and this is what I wanted every single to sound like. So I'm really happy with this.
I'm really surprised to hear Jake say he likes this song, especially since that breakdown goes like extremely heavy.
The breakdown there was an adjustment period. But ultimately, similar to back in 2019 when Bow Down had one of the best choruses I've ever heard in my fucking life, but it was extremely heavy. I had to force myself to like it. This is another one of those songs that I just had to force myself to like it because it is way too fucking good to not be in my playlist and to not be in constant rotation.
Until I Wake is a band that is slowly growing on me, and I can't believe I didn't see them live. It probably would have changed my mind. But
They sound identical to Studio Live. It's kind of crazy.
oh my.
So good.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't spent that much time, but I really don't think there's too much more to say. This
Yeah,
song's
Hope
just
you're happy
incredible.
with our review.
Yep, true. Let's move on to one of the biggest surprises of the month, in my opinion. About Monsters have dropped a brand new song, House of Cards.
You feed on painful
funny story about this one.
Okay.
Justin introduced me to this band years ago. I added their debut album to my list of shit to listen to eventually. 2.5 years later, I never listened to it, but because I followed them on Spotify, this showed up in my release radar and blew me away from first listen. If you ask for a song that Jake will like, this is the blueprint. This
I
is
still
the
don't
blueprint.
remember ever showing
Jake-
you this band.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing
And
that you just
I-
didn't remember.
I looked back at the DMs and I saw. I was like, I don't remember, but that was like before. I think that was before the Discord.
It was a while ago when you
It was
introduced me
a
to this band.
couple of years back.
It's been sitting on the dock for a while.
All right.
That's
Somebody
what most
hand
things.
Jake a deck of cards. He's gonna make a house.
Yup.
He's got the blueprint.
If I was at my dad's, I'd pull out the Pokemon cards. Unfortunately, I'm not. But this song blew me away on first listen. The only 2 songs I had heard from them, the one that stood out to me was High, which was a lot more like pop rock influenced, very, very fast, kind of guitar driven. But this very much leans into more of a post-hardcore sound.
Mm.
And honestly, like, for as good as this song is, I'm more surprised that they aren't signed to a Rising Empire. Because, like,
Yeah.
this feels like something that should be on a Rising Empire, given like Anne is Okay, Our Mirage, Future Palace. Like, this song slots in just perfectly onto everything that I hear off of that label. And I get it, they're a small band from Germany, but like, this just has the signature A Rising Empire post-hardcore sound that I adore, and is one of my most played songs of the month.
Yeah, I think the riff on this especially,
Yeah.
and the guitar work, it's very punchy in your face. I
Yeah.
love it. It's really good. The vocals sometimes, it's like 90% of the song, I really like the vocals. Sometimes there's something about it that was a little off-putting to me at some point. I can't really place it, but no, otherwise, very, very good, very solid. This definitely grew on me a lot. The first time I listened to it, I remember, and I told you, I think you asked me to listen to it, and I wasn't quite as high on it, but a little bit of time removed, this is really good.
Bands that make post-hardcore with female vocals and no uncleans is a side of my music taste that I feel like I already have a lot of, but I will never complain about more.
Right, exactly.
Fair.
Speaking of A Rising Empire, actually, Justin,
Justin
We
is
got-
signed to a Rising Empire.
It's crazy.
No, we actually just spoke about Our Mirage, and they dropped a new single, Black Hole, off an upcoming album titled Eclipse, which is dropping in November.
I don't want to steal your thunder, because I've been talking a lot these past few songs, but I had a very funny interaction with my first listen of this song, where it started out and I was like, oh, it's just another Our Mirage song. It's a little underwhelming. It's fine, I guess. And then they dropped the lyric before the chorus of Afraid of Being Happy after all these years, and suddenly they have my attention, and suddenly the song gets really good.
Yeah.
It's like,
No,
all you have to do is make a lyric about, like, I want to be happy, but sometimes I feel like I'm holding myself back from being happy, as dumb as it sounds. And suddenly you hit that special place in my heart that's like, damn it, you didn't have to tell me that.
Right.
no, this ever since Calling came out, Our Mirage has kind of been slowly creeping back on my creeping back in my attention, and this song just knocks whatever they've done out of the park. Like, Timo is at his best in this song, and it's a really fucking good Our Mirage song, probably their best in my opinion. The album art's great. It's the same as the album art for the actual album. It plays with the my kind of my spacey vibe that I've really come to enjoy. One of the lyrics, I'm always moving away from the sun, I'm caught in a black hole. I really like the breakdown. At this point, I'm too afraid to ask what lies beneath this ominous mask. My hopes have always been down so low. The sun vanished for me long ago. And then it goes into the pre-chorus where I'm just cheating myself. I just run and hide from the happiness that is buried deep inside, and I'm only running not to face my fears, Afraid of Being Happy After All These Years.
There's the line.
Yeah. Those lyrics in general just kind of hit home to me, and I think I wasn't really engaged in Our Mirage and the newer stuff. I think since Different Eyes dropped, I haven't really gone back and listened to him. But when this dropped, I went back and listened to him because everything from, I want to say, Through the Night is going to be on the album. They've kind of garnered my attention again, and I'm really hoping we get a top 10 album from them, because this is really fucking good. I love the atmospheric instrumentals, the vocals, and how they play into it, and just every portion of this is really good.
Yeah.
Our Mirage have always been consistent at being solid. They've never been like one of my favorite bands. Their songs have never been constantly in rotation, other than My Last Day and Falling off of their last album in 2020. But these singles, again, they're following that consistent path of just a solid song after solid song. And I feel like once the album comes together, I'm very curious to see how it all pieces together, because they're very consistent. And I think it just takes like a couple of songs that do get stuck in my head, like My Last Day or Falling. And they might be onto something special. I think his vocals have always been fantastic, but it's not perfect for me. It's not hitting that soft spot for me to make it enter that like S tier echelon of some of my favorite bands, when I think they have that potential.
Well, it's one of the detriments we talked about back in 2020 it was a lot of the same. Like there was almost a formula they were following in the last album, and I think they're finally kind of going away with that with these last few singles. And I think this album is gonna actually be showing their true potential. Speaking of bands that have already shown the true potential and are just knocking things out of the park, we've got Starset and Breaking Benjamin working with Judge and Jury Productions to reimagine a new song, Waiting on the Sky to Change.
I breathe in the atmosphere, let it wash over my fear of these heights as I transcend.
I don't actually know the original song.
Neither do I. But this
is incredible.
Yes, this is incredible. I will say though, I don't think the Breaking Benjamin feature does much for me.
Nah, I disagree.
Yeah, it's all right.
I disagree with all of you. I think that Dylan's vocals and I forget the vocalist of Breaking Benjamin.
You mean
But
Dustin
I think
for
Dustin, yeah, I don't know why. I was thinking of another vocalist we'll talk about. But Dustin's vocals just, I think they match really well together. If there was a band that I think Starset's like vocally could be on par with, it's Breaking Benjamin. Like, if you go back and listen to him, on the video it actually shows where the vocalist is. Like it alternates their icons, their logos, and then it kind of almost glitches out when they're both together, and it was cool. But I think they mesh well together to a point where I think it just makes the song better. Again, I don't know the original to really have a standing point for that, but I think this song is probably one of Starset's bests, and makes me excited for Breaking Benjamin to finally put out new stuff.
this is like old Starset sound, but more refined.
Yeah,
Because this isn't
I don't
really
know. Yeah.
this is like something that would go off of Vessels. I would probably say.
or transmissions, yeah.
Transmissions. I think Vessels.
I
more.
still think they do this sound really, really well.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think some of my favorite Starset songs are
Also,
when they go really heavy in the breakdown.
yeah, I was about to say, give me more Dustin breakdowns.
Like
fucking
I'm thinking of like
De-Evolution is one of my
De-Evolution.
favorite. Is one of
I'm
my
thinking
favorite songs.
Frequency. Oh god, what's that one on Transmissions that I'm thinking of?
There's one song that starts with like a T on Telekinetic. That song.
Oh yeah.
That breakdown goes dummy hard.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Carnivore, maybe, or Telescope,
No, there's a heavier one. I think it's Point of No Return.
maybe. I'll have to go back and listen.
No, it's Down with the Fallen. It's Down with the Fallen.
I don't remember
Anyways.
Unclaims on that, but
It's like the opener of the album.
yeah, this is really good. Also,
Yes.
Judge and Jury, those that don't know, I think it's like the drummers of 3 Days Grace or
Oh.
something,
Huh.
some similar.
I think Starset is like one of the bands that I've listened to I've been listening to them since the first album, and they haven't really fallen off for me. And I don't think really any other band has really done that for that long.
Yeah, that's
So
impressive.
I think it's really impressive. Yeah.
As we're kind of ending the discussion on this, I don't want to end on a sour note, but this is one of the most painfully average songs of the month, in my opinion.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't even want to
Oh.
know. I don't think painfully is the word.
See, this is what I'm thinking.
painfully.
When I was thinking about the how do our music tastes like who's the most similar? This is where Justin and I are like,
Yeah.
I have to bite my tongue.
Starset
Throw
is,
hands.
No, we're not
Starset has
biting our
rarely
tongues.
ever done anything special for me.
Ooh, no.
Like-
now there is a bad take. Now there
They
is a
have their
fucking
good
horrible
songs.
take.
They have their good songs, but still, Trials is the only memorable song off of whatever that 2020.
How
album
did you
was.
not like De-Evolution? What?
The
Wow.
album
Trials
from
is on a
last
different
year?
album.
Yeah, Trials was from 2019, and that album from, was it last year? I can't name you a song off of that album at this
Man,
point.
Evolution.
Fuck you.
Man.
And otherwise, we're just going back to their big hits like Point of No Return and Carnivore. That
I do
yeah,
think
like
I will agree
Starset-
with you. Like-
Starset are just like consistently just fine. Like I'm never disappointed, but I added this song to my playlist and I've listened to it maybe once or twice since then. It's just like compared to everything else, it's just I don't know. There's something about Starset that I just have very little energy to want to listen to them ever.
Man.
You had to
So
be
I would-
there for that first album.
So I would kind of agree in the sense that I feel like there are very few Starset songs that hold up well as individual songs outside of a playlist, and especially with these last two albums, you have to want to sit down and listen to them front to back for like 90% of the songs on the album. Like they're very good at creating experiences. It's just they all need to be taken in at once. Like I loved listening to that album last year, but I've got like 2 songs saved off of it that I listen to regularly.
And I think I'm personally am into that kind of thing. Like I'll listen to like Sleep Token, Ice Nine Kills. These are all bands where you have to like listen to like the like to the whole album, where
The experience.
the experience of the whole album. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This song's really doing nothing for me.
I'm disappointed.
I had in my notes that I said I bet that the 30-somethings who listen to Octane Radio will love this. And I think it's just because I feel like the Breaking Benjamin feature doesn't do anything, so it's only there for like
Name
a specific
recognition.
subset of people.
Numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't
I'm
think the
almost
feature
30
doesn't-
something, and this does something for me.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Man, I'm not even thinking about 30.
It's alright,
God.
Jacob.
That's too
We
far
can-
away.
We can throw hands with him later.
It's so
Yeah,
fucked
in
up.
6
that I'm the
years I'll
youngest
throw
one here.
hands.
That's got me fucked up.
How are you the youngest? What?
I know, right? I'm young. I'm young.
So I know we don't want
Young
to.
and
We
nubile
are
and
going
supple.
to have to start thinking about the future. Given this
Oh,
next song.
shit.
Oh man, Futuristic back with his newest song, "Dead to Me," featuring Loveless.
Again.
You're dead to me. You said it was all in my head, put a cross in your chest. You lied and you're dead. You said it was all in my head, why you laid in my bed?
Again, and bro,
Not a bad
what
thing.
fucking feature. Dude, when Julian said, "What the fuck is going on?" I felt
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in my soul. This I no exposure that I know of to Futuristic prior. I looked at his page and he's got songs in like the 60 millions. And I looked at his for fans of on Spotify and I listened to like all of those artists. So my impression is that he is a rap hip hop artist who is now kind of following that trend of exploring the punkier side of it, which I guess it makes me think that what was that Lil Wayne Blink 182 Neck Deep tour was really ahead of its time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a lineup and a half. But anyway, so this is kind of pop punk, catchy, you know, kind of what you would expect from pop punk nowadays, in the mainstream. And by God, does it pull it off well. This is one of my favorite songs of the month. I had this on constant repeat ever since I heard it, listened to it at least once a day on the way home from work. Julian Feature sounds incredible as always. It's just fun. I mean, the lyricism isn't fun, but the way that it sounds is bouncy and enjoyable.
It's the pop punk guarantee.
It's the pop punk guarantee, yeah. But the poppier side of pop punk, you know, the good side, in my opinion. But
yeah, I went to. I think I told you guys this. I went to like I did tell you this. I went to like an emo night in Toronto, and this would fit in so well there.
You got to DJ one of those.
I got a DJ one of those.
Yeah.
I saw the picture of you at one of those, and I swear that's an exact picture you would see in like a 2006 magazine.
No, he's pulling up in alt press.
Right?
Yeah, dude. I was wearing my Bionicle shirt too.
Let's go. No,
Time to be alive.
I really, really enjoyed this. This made me not only want to go through and listen to, you know, some of Futuristic's older stuff to see if it sounds like this, but I'm also looking for fans of, and it's full of artists that I love. So I'm definitely going to be checking out Futuristic after this. So shout out Julian for putting a incredible feature on this and putting me onto this, and shout out to Futuristic for creating such an incredible song, because this is one of those songs of the summer type of things that I really, really enjoyed.
Ooh, I'm so excited to talk about the next song.
Speaking of songs of the summer, question mark?
Kinda, maybe.
Movements have dropped a brand new song called Cherry Thrill.
Am I the only one? I think it might be fun. Drop everything and run.
I stole that from you, Jacob. Sorry.
Get fucked.
That's fine. I love the song.
I'm glad that I forced you to listen to this.
I'm glad you forced me to listen to this.
The vibes of this song are fucking immaculate. This is up there as one of my favorite movement songs. For some context, I have not listened to anything other than the 2020 album. I have not listened to any of their older.
This sounds like nothing from before.
Nothing.
And honestly, I'm out of that phase in my life where I was like depressed, and I'm glad. Well, I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I know what you
mean.
mean.
But like, yeah, and I guess movements is too. And
you're hypnotized by the cherry thrill.
Yes, I'm hypnotized by the cherry thrill.
I literally have no other words to describe this song other than the vibes are immaculate. It's just the bass tones of this song enter me into the immaculate vibe zone.
And it still has that what's the vocalist name? Patrick, I think. It still has like the tone of, like, I guess it makes sense because it's him, but that movement's tone that I love. And it's not in the same emotion as, like, I remember we talked about the B-sides from
No Good Left to Give. Right?
Whatever. I don't know.
No.
Whatever that album was. It was in my top 5 of
Those are my top
2020, and I
3.
can't remember. And I remember just not being able to vibe with it just because I wasn't in that state of mind anymore. But this, I could just groove to this all day.
For the 4th time, the vibes are immaculate.
The vibes are immaculate. Derek, I need to know how you feel.
I don't like it.
Oh,
Man.
Sorry, guys.
This
not even that I don't like
This is a top
it.
3 movement song for me.
Oh.
I don't know if I go that far. Right
Look.
now, it's a top 1.
Look, Jacob, I am very happy for you. You are past the point where you need the sad movements.
That I need the sad movements.
And I would argue that I'm past the point too where I need the sad movements. The problem is I want the sad movements. This, to me, I mean, it's a vibe, and it's not bad. I think it's good. It's just not what I want. I think Movements are a very special and unique band in that nobody, except for maybe a band called Valley Heart, makes music so consistently of that vibe that I'm looking for to scratch that specific itch. And if you're telling me I'm getting new Movements, I'm excited for more of that same. Like, Movements are one of the very few bands where they could never progress their sound and I would be completely okay with it, like in any way whatsoever. Um, and so I get this, and I'm like, yeah, it's a vibe. But if the song had like a visual representation, right, and like an up down wavelength type of thing, this to me feels like one big flat line, and I'm bored halfway through.
No
And it's
way.
not, yeah, yeah. I heard this once when it came out. I was
This
like,
is-
okay, maybe it needs some time. I went and listened to it to prep for the podcast, and I'm still bored. Like, it's not what I want from Movements
This
at
is
all.
this is like blowing my mind right now because like we were like so in sync about that
Yeah,
last album,
And you know what?
and then
I
now we
think
got Jake in the mix who
Well,
loves
see,
it.
this kind of fucks me up because I've been listening to a lot of music like this recently. From I mean, obviously you guys have heard of the fucking Neighborhood, like Sweater Weather, all that, and then a band called the Marias, and they make a lot of vibey, bass heavy, kind of groovy, toned down music like this, and I've been listening to that on repeat. So it's movements. It's movements in the style of the music I've been listening to a lot recently. For some reason, it's not clicking, and it's not even.
It's
yeah.
your
it's just-
expectations.
I don't even think so. I think the song just feels like a flat line. I don't think there's anything here that makes me want to go back to it, which is really upsetting to me. And I know it's just personal preference, but it's not even expectations because it was expectations on my first listen. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, did somebody release music under Movement's name and like got put up on Spotify? Like, what happened here? And then listening to it again, like I get what they were trying to go for, and I'm not even like mad at them for making that progression per se. It's just stylistically, I like the style of music. It's just not what I want, and I don't think this band should do it. That's not an
wholeheartedly
objective statement. That's
disagree.
subjective, but
And this
yeah,
is totally selfish reasoning because,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah,
I didn't love No Good Left to Give, but I am on board for this style of movements.
You got to be hurt to like No Good Left to Give. You got to be hurt at
You
some
do.
point. You don't have to
I
still be
needed-
hurting, but you got to be hurt.
I needed No Good Left to Give back in 2018, a few years too late.
Meh.
Anyway, let's move on to this next song.
Yes.
Rivals have dropped the brand new song Bleeding Star.
Just a love like medicine. Everybody loves a bleeding star.
So as I mentioned earlier on, I got to see Rivals live in Hartford a week ago, today, just over a week ago from when we're recording this. And I was expecting Fake Rich or Sad Looks Pretty on Me to be my favorite songs of the night. Bleeding Star was the only song during the entire show that sent chills down my spine, including Dragged Under and the openers as well. Bleeding Star was the one song that did it, and it was like immediately. Like, as soon as Kaylee starts singing that first verse, the chills are down my spine. It is, oh my, this song is fucking nuts.
Where did this guitar tone come from, bro?
For real. It's like the fucking hair out guitar tone, but on Rivals. This is my favorite song that they have put out since that album last year, and it's not particularly close.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think this is just an unbelievable demonstration of their lyrical talent when it comes to songwriting. And again, it's another one of those songs that it's hard to pick out specific lyrics to describe, like, what's my favorite lyrics of the song, because it's literally just the entire fucking song. Kaylee's vocal delivery across the entire song is incredible, from, like, the backing, like, or whatever. I'm sorry, I can't sing.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Those backing vocals that she does, on top of just the incredible vocal delivery of the verses and the lyrics. If I am gonna have to pick out one line, it's tattoos covered his skin, eyes as empty as his Mercedes-Benz. Just like kind of representing that, like, you're spending money. It's kind of like the same thing that Fake Rich was doing, where it's like you're spending all this money and you're still not happy. But this song isn't exactly about that, whereas Fake Rich was much more explicitly about like money can't buy you happiness. In my
Well, this is
opinion.
more like fame doesn't bring you happiness.
Yeah,
right?
they posted earlier today. Actually, they posted on Instagram stories that the song was about breaking generational trauma of like you shouldn't always listen to what your parents tell you. They posted like this cool graphic. Hold on, let me pull it up. I actually saved it. Where like your grandparent tells you you're stupid, your parents tell you you're not good enough, but when you have a child, you're going to tell them that I love you. Kind of like breaking that cycle of like, well, it says it in the lyrics: hurt people.
Yeah,
It is true.
It's just like everything about this song is incredible. One of my favorite songs of the month, hands down, and surprisingly, my favorite song when I saw them live, when I was expecting it to be Fake Rich or Sad Looks Pretty on Me, which they didn't end up playing, and I'm still sad about that, but whatever. Also, shout out to the breakdown in this song, because Rivals can just do breakdowns really well, I guess.
yeah. Somehow,
Sure,
some way, fuck it.
What can't this band fucking do?
Nothing.
Justin,
Not-
Jacob, thoughts?
They can. This is what they can't do. They can not. Oh shit! I'm confusing myself. Not talk about pterodactyls. Right? Did I do it right?
Right.
I got
I
it.
think.
Good job. Go listen to our Hivemind After Hours episode with Kaylee and Mickett, by the way, if you haven't. I don't have too much more to add. Are we ready to move on to the next one? I think I said everything I wanted to.
I will say I'm not really one to connect with the Rivals lyrics much, but it's always a good time listening to Rivals. Except when you listen to Two Dom, that's depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Let's move on. Derek, I want you to take this one.
Honey Revenge are back with their newest single, Ride, which comes with a signing to Thriller Records.
Going to waste my time. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the ride. This year has felt like one long day.
This is the best Honey Revenge song.
This is second best behind Distracted. It's kind of close.
Oh,
It's
I
kind
don't
of
know
close.
about that. I think this is number one, Miss Me is number two, and Distracted's number three, but you know, I digress. Look,
Similar to
Honey
Movements, the vibes are immaculate here.
yeah, they dropped a really good summer song
vibey
right at the
pop
end of
rock.
summer. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a windows down type
why
of song.
can't we agree? You know what? This is fine, actually.
Man.
I'm not, I
That's
don't.
fine.
I think- Well, go ahead.
I don't know what I was gonna say. Just go
Oh,
ahead.
all right. I was gonna say that like I think that this also might be part of my bias with like I found this band with the release of their like quote unquote debut single, and I don't think it was actually a debut. I think that they like broke up and then got back together, I think is my understanding of it, and just decided to release entirely new music and, you know, kind of purged quote unquote their old discography. But no, this is great pop rock. Perfect for the summer. It's so vibey. It's just a bop. You know, there's nothing like super deep or complex about it, but it's really well crafted and does everything that it intends to do in the best possible way. And I think that this band, especially being like entirely, you know, DIY, like they're doing everything themselves, that they to be picked up by Thriller Records, I'm really hoping that they can get some more exposure that they deserve. Because with a debut single as good as Miss Me, I think that this band has a lot of immense songwriting talent and the potential to blow up, whether it be, you know, radio, TikTok, even just gaining more recognition within the scene. That this to me very much feels like a Concrete Castles, where they're coming out of the gate swinging, maybe not as strongly as Concrete Castles.
I was gonna say that Honey
yeah.
Revenge are my Concrete Castles of 2022. Just not as good. Concrete
Yeah.
Castles are
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
But Honey Revenge are
they've
not
got more
that far
experience,
behind.
too. Yeah,
Honey Revenge are not that far behind given
they're hot on their
the
heels.
hill that they're climbing.
Yeah, and I'm very, very excited to hear more about this. I think that hopefully I can't remember if these are attached to anything or if they're off an EP or like what's going on, but I need more material.
Give me a Honey Revenge EP, please, and
expeditiously.
I will add it to my top 10 EPs of the year right now.
Yep, absolutely, you and me both. Speaking of bands that need to release the project expeditiously, Windwalkers have dropped their newest single, Drowning Hymns. With an album set for 2023, right, Justin?
Yes, and Derek, you in particular have been very high on this song, so I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Look, guys, I'm locking in Windwalkers for Album of the Year 2023. I'm doing it right now. 9:50 p.m. on September 3rd, 2022. I'm officially locking it in. They were good with their old vocalists. They were, I think their Spotify thing says that they're, want to do hard rock, metalcore with a little bit of R&B influence. I cannot get the delivery on "This Is Not My Kind of Love" right before the chorus out of my head. The inflection on "Love" and the way he lets his voice run just a little bit, it's art. It is
I'll
fucking
love
art.
Trevor's vocals in this.
It's Trevor. His name's Trevor.
Yes, he is.
Trevor,
from...
you're the fucking goat. Look, does he do the Uncleans tour, or is that somebody else?
Yes. No, he does
Yo.
everything.
Oh. You are a top 5 vocalist in the scene.
What
I don't
did I miss?
care. We're talking about Windwalkers, Jacob.
I
And how
changed the artwork.
Trevor of Windwalkers is the top 5 vocalist in the scene.
Trevor Borg.
Trevor Borg. Mr. Borg, you're a national hero.
You know what? I'm gonna leave again.
Man, do whatever you want. I don't care. This is like Song of the Year or some shit. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Trevor, if you're watching.
This is phenomenal.
I will not hear any Trevor slander on
I-
this
I-
Christian podcast.
I
Hey,
love
no
the
slander. Just not
I
top
love the
5.
second verse in this. Pace. You're not keeping up the pace. When you're putting your face on late, I watch you let them face and you turn so hollow. Thought you broke every bone in your body. Take a healing dose. The delivery on that and
Yes.
how it flows so smoothly. Chef's kiss.
Look, the drive from my apartment to pretty much anywhere I want to go that isn't work is about 5 minutes. And every time I go anywhere, and every time I come back from anywhere, I am putting Drowning Hymns by Windwalkers on. The instrumentation is phenomenal, but Trevor's voice is just it's incredible. It does things to me. Every time I hear this song, my reaction is just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the fact that he's doing cleans this well and hitting, like, scratching that itch in my brain, and then doing the uncleans as well, and they're also scratching a different itch in my brain. Hangfire was phenomenal, and I felt the R&B influence on this one. And this one, it's more post-hardcore with a little bit of R&B here and there on certain words or lines, and it hits. I have never thrown... Well, no. I shouldn't say that. This year there have been a couple songs where I very quickly threw them into my top songs of the year after hearing them. Like, I didn't have to think about it. I heard it like once or twice and I went, bam, this is in there. I don't know where it's going to be, but this is in there. And this is one of those, we're going to be talking about another one later.
He's got a list of 100 songs. They're all in his top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
This also isn't the last thing they're dropping this year, from what I'm hearing.
More.
I want to bring up an idea to you guys where I feel like this is the first song this year where I can really feel the impact that the Death of Peace of Mind is having on the scene. I feel like this song takes a lot of inspiration from that album.
So
This song reeks of Bad Omens influence to me.
So I would say yes. I think by extension, Haven't Been Myself to Too Close to Touch was the blueprint for all of it. I think I listened to The Death of Peace of Mind, and and I guess to an extension, Eric Ron. Eric Ron's the mastermind behind it all, but you listen to everything that Eric Ron touches or writes, and it all in some way ties back into Haven't Been Myself. I mean, I think of that Monomania by The Word Alive. The Death of Peace of Mind comes to mind. You know, obviously something like Artificial Suicide isn't bringing you back to Too Close to Touch, but the Cleans and I mean, Noah Sebastian himself has said that like he took a lot of vocal influence when figuring out how to do his current iteration of Cleans from Keaton. So, and I feel that here too, that I think that was really a turning point, and I think that's part of why I like this style of music so much, is just that aspects of it remind me of my favorite bands, my favorite songs, my favorite albums, and Windwalkers are hitting it out of the park for me. Hangfire really, really piqued my interest. I think that was a 9 out of 10. This is an 11 out of 10. I can't get enough of this song. I think I listened to
Drowning
it like 40
Hymns
times
and
yesterday.
Hangfire should put Dead Talk in a coffin with how much
Yeah.
better they are.
See,
Like,
Yeah.
literally just
I don't want to
bury
downplay
Dead Talk 6 feet deep with how good these things are.
that being said, I don't want to downplay Dead Talk because Dead
No,
Talk
'cause
is
it's so
still-
good.
No,
it's still a good song. But I think these two, like, they really just show this band's limits and that they really don't have any.
Dead Talk is
Man.
painfully average, and I will not be taking any questions.
Yeah, but you were wrong about Unprocessed. You can be wrong about that.
Hangfire and Drowning Hymns, banger.
I feel like an outsider here.
What
Yeah.
is it that isn't clicking for you about this?
Well, I like it's fine.
Oh, man.
He said the thing!
I hate the thing. I feel like it just downplays.
I'm about to go fucking Super Saiyan, bro. Are you kidding me? Oh. You know what? After that comment, I wish Jacob was born to die. Speaking of born to die, Letter
I'm wondering
Sent
if we would
Home
get a bad transition.
have put out their newest
That was
song,
like-
Born to Die.
That was not only bad, it was
Stop!
rude.
Fine, fuck it. You know what? Whatever. You know what? Now I feel bad because I know Jake likes this band a lot more than me. Jake, I'm handing you the reins. Go.
No society and somehow we still live to survive the reality that we built in insanity.
No band puts me to tears so easily the way this band does. Literally just like, it doesn't matter what song it is. 5 seconds into a song and I start feeling those tears coming. I don't care. Any of the 4 songs off of the Misery Loves Company EP. I think this song is weaker than all 4 of those songs. I still get 10 seconds into this and I start feeling the tears coming down. No band has like made me shed tears the way they do since Future Palace dropped Break Free Into My Air back in 2020. And if I didn't discover this band in like the last week of December last year, this would be the easiest walk-in for favorite band I've discovered this year, uncontested. And I've discovered some really fucking good bands this year, but this band there's an emotional attachment that I have to this band unlike anything else that I've heard this year. And admittedly, I think this song, it's good. It's not nearly as good as any of the 4 songs off of the Misery Loves Company EP. I can't tell you what it is, but something about this band strikes a chord that immediately makes me want to just think about life, think about all of the sad times, think about all of the memories, all of the regrets, all of the happy moments, and just like think about it all and just shed a few tears for the life I've lived.
I feel like I should slow clap.
Uh,
I listen to a man extremely passionate about a band.
Yep. Yeah.
And no
Jake.
death threats, so you're a better man than me.
Jake. That's depressing.
This Letter Sent Home is my movement, okay?
Oh man. Hey, think what would happen if he went and listened to Movements. If you listen to that older shit, my man would break down. It'd be over.
Dude,
I'm gonna give Jake. I'm gonna send him feel something, and he's gonna be like, "Why the fuck would you do this to me?" Like,
no, send
the
him the
funny-
gray.
yeah, no, I mean like the album feels.
Oh.
Like the whole album.
I can't even tell you what about this song makes me feel the way I do. The 4 songs of that EP I can tell you. This song I can't tell you. And I think it just, there's something about the mellow tone to the instrumentation and the elegance of her vocals that just strikes a chord with me.
Think there's anything I could say to follow that up, bro? You nailed it.
I want to make a comment, but this is too serious, so we're gonna wait for it to happen.
The one I'll end it on the fact that they are releasing another EP in December called Fire in Me, and might as well lock that one into top 10 EPs of the year while we're at it. Let's move on.
Can I do this one? Because I said, you remember at the beginning?
Yes, you did.
All right, this is gonna be a struggle. Oh, I'm sad Derek's not gonna be here for it, but Swajan was that? I think that was better than the first time. Have released their new song Momentum. featuring Steffi Paxson.
To correct Jacob, it's
Did I say it right?
It's
Suasion. Suasion. You know,
I let you
I
say
said
it for funny.
Suasion song.
I think the song is really solid. Suasion have always been like teetering between greatness and mediocrity, and this leans towards the sign of greatness. And I think it comes down to the Suasion is what I wish Starset sounded like sometimes. Is that unfair?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really see
So
it.
let's put it this way: Suasion is
You gotta
making
break it down.
songs with a very atmospheric, somewhat cinematic orchestral sound, similar to Starset, and specifically these last few songs have all the music videos have had a theme around like space, and this is the song where they escape space and make it back to safety from space. And I don't know, there's something about the instrumentation and vocal delivery that just works more for me here compared to Starset, compared to how average Starset is more often than not in recent years. Suasion hits a chord in me that just works better. Shout out the guitar solo in this song because it solos.
Meanwhile, I still always have a problem with the vocalist situation. I think the song's good.
The vocals
but
definitely are an acquired taste.
I think even since the last album, Stardust, I think this is just something's not clicked with me with the vocalist. I did like Murphy's Law and Infinite when they came out.
Mhm.
I've not really gone back to the other two singles.
Yeah,
Transformation.
Murphy's Law and Infinite are better than anything they've released this year. I will say that. But
And
I
this
still
just
think this is a
doesn't-
solid song. We can agree to disagree on this one.
Mhm.
I'm not going to super advocate for this song. It's a good song. I think this band deserves more recognition for what they're doing. I think the Steffi Paxson feature is pretty solid. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but a solid song in a band that I think deserves more attention. Not the best showing of their sound, but I think this is better than this. I think this is the best song they've released this year.
All right, I'm gonna say what I was gonna say earlier, and I want you guys to think about this. I'm sorry for going off topic so much this month, but I have to do this. It's always these fun little questions. Okay. I like to go through the playlist with like blindly and like listen to the songs and guess who added it to the playlist.
Okay.
And I feel like it sometimes is very obvious. What
Was
do you
this
guys
an
think?
obvious Jake ad?
No, but I was gonna say the letter sent home was.
Okay, yeah. I feel like the obvious Jake ad should have been about monsters, but letters sent home, yeah, that one too.
And the obvious Derek ad was the Devon Bars song. And then just like any other post-hardcore songs, it's just Justin ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to a band's bio and they got like 4,000 monthly listeners and they're from like some country you've never heard of, probably Justin. Justin's like, yeah, this is a post-hardcore band from Latvia
Dude, we opened
that I
up.
found on the
didn't
dark
we
web.
open up
Open to
with
South
Yeah,
South
South
Africa?
Like, where the we're,
That's the Justin guarantee.
you joke, but we're gonna talk about what they added. It's like they have 1.7k monthly listeners.
I think
And-
we got something else to get to first.
Oh,
No.
I know.
But when it's a random ad from like some random country and it's in Asia, it's Jake who adds it. But if it's Europe or like Africa now, I guess it's Justin.
Hivemind World, we're on the Hivemind World Tour.
Christ.
Yeah, who's got South America?
Honestly, probably me. I
Yeah,
feel like
probably.
I've
Yeah.
got
All I'm saying is give me a few songs.
Man, what do I got? Actually, I'll take
You
Australia.
got
I'll take Australia.
no, Jacob. You got Sweden on lock.
That's true. He's got
No, but
Northern Europe.
that's what Justin shows me though. It's his fault.
Hello.
Okay, Justin shows it to you and you lock it down.
Fuck you, Epson's Eminence.
All right. Now that Derek's back, we can talk about this song because I feel
Are
like
we on Dayseeker?
We were
We
on-
are
It's
on
Dayseeker
Dayseeker.
time.
This is the song of the year. Sorry,
We have a
I had to get that
transition
out.
to
I've
it.
been holding it in for a while.
Dayseeker, Without Me, a new album, Dark Sun.
Don't you play dumb? How do you feel beside without me? How do you feel beside?
Coming
almost-
November.
We almost started this review without Derek, so
Oh, how could
It's
you do
about
that
him.
without me, bro? Got him.
Nah.
Got him, coach.
Okay, so Derek, I know you love this song. I just want to say this is like probably top 3 most impressive Rory Rodriguez vocal delivery.
Yes.
Not one of my favorite Dayseeker songs. This is like pushing like top 7, top 6 maybe.
I just made a strangling motion with my hand.
Okay.
I want you to know that.
hear me out. Hear me out. I think this is the problem with the song. I think it takes too long to get to the instruments.
No.
Okay.
I'm
Like I
not
like
there.
Rory, but after it takes like a minute and 15 seconds for the guitar to come in, it's just like, all right.
I'm gonna
If this-
that.
Man.
Wait, is this the first song on the album? If it is, then that's fine. I don't think it is.
believe-
I don't think it is.
No.
If my memory serves me right, this follows Neon Grave from the track list.
So, not acceptable, in my opinion. Like, I like the song, but it takes too long to get into the instruments, and I think that's what throws it off for me. I
the
think
biggest
Justin said
problem
that
about
too.
this song is that I just haven't listened to it enough for how good it is.
I heard this once, and I opened up my Google Doc and put it at #1 song of the year.
Windwalkers
Yeah.
and Shambles.
I feel like I'm
This is
discrediting
track
this
3.
song too much because it is incredible once we get to those instrumentation parts. And I don't know if I'd call it a top Dayseeker song, but it's pretty. I think it's better than Neon Grave.
Now that we're
Once you
talking
get into
about
the instruments.
Derek, did you know that there was the band Camino feature on the Dayseeker album?
There's a what?
Yeah, the Quicksand.
What the fuck?
The 7th track is the band Camino feature.
How did we get here? What timeline am I in?
Right. But no,
Um,
this is good. Definitely not my favorite Dayseeker songs. I think I like band songs similar to Neon Grave more. Where
I
it's
feel like
got that mix.
this could be similar to A Death of Peace of Mind for like live shows. If they start with this song,
Ooh.
They're probably gonna do the same.
it
thing
could
they
it
did
could
that
be
with,
really good.
Drunk was, I think most of the time they start with that.
I don't know. Like, this song comes out. I have not listened to it nearly enough. This song is amazing. The note that Rory hits before the second chorus on whatever fucking lyric or word, I don't remember at this point. I haven't listened to it enough, as I said. But Rory's vocal delivery is incredible. And for some reason, like, even though Neon Grave is like one of my most played songs of the year, because I just had that shit on repeat because that released right before I went to see Dayseeker and it was just on repeat. I just kind of forgot that, like, Dayseeker were a band that were probably going to be releasing an album this year, and I wasn't accounting for the fact that they are probably going to be a lock-in for my top 10 albums of the year.
Oh, for sure. I think
But with this song, it's like, oh yeah, Dayseeker are just a lock for a top 10 album of the year, huh? Like,
I think
I should have known.
I think if we're talking about any no, there's one other. No, for all 4 of us, any album coming out this year, I think this is the one that would be in all our top 10. Has potential to be in all our top 10.
Yeah.
I think that and Rain City Drive probably. I mean, like, well, maybe not post
nope.
Rain City Drive, but like prior to that. You know, that if you had to ask me 2 bands releasing an album this year, what are those bands that have the potential to like soundly end up in all of our top 10? It's Rain City Drive and Dayseeker. I disagree with it taking too long to build. I think the moment I heard the first chorus, I knew exactly where it was going to go, and I didn't even care anymore because I think the payoff is incredible. I love the way the drums pick up in the verses. When they finally pay off in the second chorus, it hits. The lyrics, phenomenal. I mean, I think if I got this song last year, bro, this would have been easiest song of the year ever. Even easier than this year. Just amazing stuff. The delivery is incredible. Like Jake said, I think this is my favorite Rory delivery ever. This is a top 3
I didn't say favorite, but this is like top 3 vocal delivery.
Yeah, it's my
It's
favorite.
up
It's a top 3 Dayseeker song for me, behind "Starving to Be Empty" and "Carved from Stone." And like "Starving to Be Empty" is a top 10 song of all time for me, and "Carved from Stone's like top 20 or 30. So, this is ranking pretty highly. everything about this, the replayability, the way that it sounds, even just listening to it like once at a time, everything about this is phenomenal, and I can't get enough of this. I think that this is my Constance by Spirit Box of 2022 in
Ooh.
that I don't
Oh.
listen to it on repeat a lot necessarily. Like, I did when it came out, but I have to like sit back and listen to it just to appreciate it because it's so good for what it is. I think this takes, I liked Neon Grave. I think this takes Neon Grave and digs at a grave and then buries it and then takes a picture on top of it with like peace signs. Like this. I love this so
Like that
much.
Barry Allen meme.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name? I don't even know the actor's name, dude.
I know. I know what you're talking about.
Grant Gustin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who
Based
plays
on
the
the
Flash.
show.
Yeah,
Sure.
this is a banger. I'm
That
so
guy.
in love with this. I love this song so much.
Guys,
Anyway, what's
This
up?
next song has a really long name, and I think that's
Yes,
a pretty
as
good
it should.
guarantee.
More bands need to do this.
I think that's a Justin guarantee as far as I'm concerned.
That is true.
I'm sorry, I liked the 2006 punk
Yup.
with like
more bands need
really
to go
long
back
ass
to that.
title names. We
Yep.
got a new band for the podcast. It comes in waves with their new song. This is a confession, not an apology, off of an upcoming album titled Identity.
And they remind me I'm not you. No, I'm not you.
Before August 31st, this was my single of the month.
I wonder what Justin's
Man,
single of the month is,
yeah.
guys. Is it "The Death We
It's-
Seek" by Currents?
I
Yes,
think so.
totally.
No, it's deep
Um,
fake.
I love the opening and the closing to this specifically. I love the very atmospheric, but it almost feels like you, without the like the electronic producing, I feel like you can almost do that with vocals. So hearing that live, like that just sounds really good. That's not even getting into the song itself. Like I love the chorus, especially the second chorus, where after the uncleans, where it goes from another sacrifice with your face, another scar you left me, another pill to be, it's killing me. It changes the lyrics in the second chorus to end with all I want from you is a chance to lose, or a chance to watch you lose it all so you can fall. And then the breakdown on fall, so fucking good. I will say there isn't a lot of lyric substance in this. It's just the chorus 3 times in 2 verses. But it doesn't need it.
Hey,
It's so good without it.
So good.
if you ever heard Sleep Token, it's really repetitive. So I enjoyed this too.
This was so I've actually been following this band for quite a bit. They put out an EP back in 2020. That had a Kellen Quinn feature that was really
Wolf
good.
in Disguise, yeah, that's the one song that I really remember this band for, and everything else I've ever heard from them was really underwhelming until this song, which sounds massive and also manages to be underwhelming at the same time. I don't get it. I'm so perplexed
How
by
the
how
fuck?
I am
No,
so
you're wrong.
perplexed by how what I do not understand my feelings towards this song. It's like the chorus sounds massive. It sounds anthemic. And I kind of just sit there motionless when I listen to this song. And I do not get it. Because this is a great song that makes me feel nothing.
I'm so mad.
Makes you feel any better? I really like this.
Thank you.
Yeah, the electronics sold me almost instantly. So
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
that's kind of what drew me in, but I'm also just a big fan of the lyrics and the vocals in general. They did such a good job with this. If this is like the starting point for this upcoming album, fuck, what a good starting point. I hope it keeps going. I don't know if we'll be getting it this year or not. Probably next year. But
One
fuck.
of my favorite things that bands do is after a breakdown, they'll go like into a chorus or a verse, and it's like very minimal with the instruments. It's like just vocals, like straight after a breakdown. I'm thinking like The Jig Is Up by Ice Nine Kills. I love when bands do this, and it's executed very well here. Okay, maybe you don't get what I was saying.
No, I get what you're saying. I was silently agreeing with you. I was like, "Yep, that makes sense."
I don't have anything meaningless.
I think all three of us were like, we were all nodding along with you.
Yep,
and
I
Preston
sat here, I nodded. I didn't
What are you
disagree.
talking about?
No, I said I'm bobbing I'm doing the bob nod.
Yep, we're nodding along,
Yep.
expecting the nod to carry through the microphone, except it doesn't, because that's
Yep,
not how this
exactly.
works.
I thought that was gonna lead into a transition to a new.
The one last thing I want to say is that I did not have very many expectations. I was a little disappointed to see this in my release radar, in all honesty, because their older material, other than Wolf in Disguise, left me really underwhelmed. And for as somewhat underwhelmed as I am about this song, I am a lot more optimistic about this band after hearing this song compared to where I was with them in 2020.
You fucking confused the hell out of me.
This song confuses me, bro.
Ugh.
All right.
All right, let's move on. We got a couple more songs to talk about. The Warning have dropped a reimagined version of their song Choke, featuring Grandson and 0936.
Man, there's a grandson feature. I wonder who added this.
So, to start, this band is from Mexico. Already not something that you see very often.
There we go. South America, we got it.
That's not quite close, but not quite.
They're from Mexico, which
South
is not
of
the
North
craziest thing
America.
about this band.
South of America.
The craziest thing about this band to me is that this band is made of three sisters.
What?
The three people of this band, the guitarist, the vocalist slash guitarist, the bassist, and the drummers, are all sisters.
I remember you mentioning this.
Which is fucking wild to me. Okay, so they put out a brand new album earlier this year called Air. I have not heard it, but I heard the original Choke. When this feature showed up with Grandson, I went to check their YouTube channel. I had heard a couple of their songs. Clearly never left an impact on me. This shit blows everything else that I have heard from The Warning out of the water. And this song made me go back to those old songs because I'm like, okay, maybe now that I have a reason to be interested in this band, maybe those other songs will be better. No, they're just fine. They're just fine. The rest of their material is just fine. This is feature of the year contender number 3 of the month of August, actually. The Grandson feature is immaculate. The grungy vibe that he brings to this band is exactly what The Warning needs. And the 0936 feature in the second verse is also just incredible. And together, it just makes an incredible package. This blows the original song out of the water, which is honestly... Well, actually, it's quite a controversial take because I read the YouTube comments on the remix of this, and it's like, half of the comments are like, not my thing, but I'm glad it exists. And I'm just here like, bro, this blows everything else they've ever done from what I've heard out of the water.
Really fucking good.
I am very curious to listen to their album, Error, after hearing this. I'm definitely going to give that a listen before the end of the year. But from what I have heard of the couple of singles I have heard from them, I do not think anything is going to be topping this.
I enjoyed this more than I thought it would, and I think it honestly reminds. I can't pinpoint what it is.
The
But I'm
drop in
thinking
the
of,
song
like,
is kind of EDM like, so I expect it to be
Yeah.
from Derek.
Like some YouTube intro or something for. It's not a YouTube intro. I feel like I'd see it in some commercial for some random gaming ad or something.
Wow, that light bulb moment, yeah.
Like
Derek,
I
thoughts?
could imagine like a COD montage to this song.
Yeah. Derek, what do you think of this one?
Fucking slaps.
Hell yeah.
Bro, we're talking about features that kill it every single time. 0936 fucking kills every single song he's on. Every rock song that has a rap feature should have 0936 from here on out. I don't care. Dude is a behemoth on the features. I think about that We Came as Roman song, Daggers. Best part of that song. Easy. And I think he's the best part of this song too, to be honest. Just everything he touches turns to gold. And, Grandson sounds phenomenal here. This style of like electronic rock, you put Grandson on it, it's guaranteed. You put 0936 on it, it's guaranteed. You put them together, like it can't not slap. This is fantastic. I love this.
I'm afraid I'm setting your expectations a little too high for when you check out the rest of their material, if you ever do. Because I don't know if you've heard any of the other stuff.
I don't think so, unless you've shown it to me in the past. But
this is the only thing I've shown you. So unless you've seen them in YouTube recommended, I'd be surprised if you've ever heard them. I'm just gonna end it there. I'm not gonna give you any other expectations other than to maybe think this is exceeding expectations. Anyway, Architects, brand new song called Deepfake.
Sold it all for parts. They got a fish full of fucking gold. A return on the souls they sold. Do you remember?
How are we feeling about this?
I'm gonna say it. I'm cautiously optimistic. Because for the second album cycle in a row, Architects dropped 3 singles that I really like, and I'm very scared that the album is just going to be like a 50-50 coin toss.
well,
That's what For Those That Wish to Exist was.
Well, you really liked Animals, right? Like Animals is like really high up there. Okay, well, these 3 songs have just been Animals 3 times, so I can
Except
see why you
like
like.
budget
That's
versions
rude,
of Animals.
man.
It's not fucking rude. It's true. This band sucks dick, bro.
Animals
I'm
should have
so sick of
been
it.
Animals should have been a top 10 song of 2020 for me in hindsight. These 3 songs aren't to the same level. When We Were Young, I think, is still the best. This is probably number 2. Tear Gas is fine.
That's what that song is called.
I think this song had potential to be really good. But they do the weird fake out thing in the second verse where they go heavy and then just drop it. I feel like this song needed a bit more variation in the structure. Give me like a quick 10 to 15 second riff down before the pre-chorus into the second chorus, and I think this song stands out a lot more. That being said, what does stand out about this song is the breakdown, which just goes weird for some reason, but I kind of love it.
Okay, I said this in the chat, but Architects are pulling a Thornhill. Not quite as extreme as Thornhill.
At least
Maybe I'm just
Thornhill made
saying that 'cause-
creative music.
Pardon?
I said at least Thornhill made creative music when they switched up their styles. This
Man.
fucking sucks. I'm gonna be real. I hate this. I can't stand it. I can't stand anything they're doing.
Man.
And it,
I'm
Yeah,
really
well,
just
I'll let you go.
hear that. I think it's all right. I don't think it's like the greatest thing I've ever heard.
yeah.
I do think they're rushing into an album very quickly off the last one, and it feels strange.
Well, I kind of get it because and in these sounding so much like Animals, I feel like very basic song structure, whatever. I think last album, even if it didn't appease their more classic fans, right? They got a lot of success off of songs like Meteor and especially Animals. I think Animals is at like 60 million or something ridiculous. So I think they're trying to take that now kind of more mainstream, Octane style success and put out songs that can broaden their audience at a time that works best for them. I think from a marketing standpoint for the band, the schedule makes sense and these singles make sense. Now
that you say that makes sense, and especially with the tour cancellation.
Yeah, they got to do something to help promote their popularity, and I get it. And I mean, I've made it no secret that I didn't like Architects before For Those Who Wish to Exist. I didn't. I don't know what it is. Not a single song prior to that album has clicked. And then For Those Who Wish to Exist was like my album of the year for a while last year and narrowly missed my top 10 by the time all was said and done. And I still listen to a lot of songs off of it regularly. And I was hoping that it would take more of a direction of songs like that. And ultimately, what I'm left with is I think that after they put out 2018 was Holy Hell, right? And 2016 was All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us.
Yes.
After they put out Holy Hell, this band should have disbanded. As much as I love For Those Who Wish to Exist, Tom Searle, rest in peace, being their songwriter becomes more and more evident with every single song that they release. and I think that Tear Gas was really a slap in the face to Architect's Legacy. I can listen to All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us and Holy Hell and not like a single song on there and still appreciate what it is and the songwriting and the way that that album flows and what it conveys. And For Those Who Wish to Exist felt like the remnants, because especially whatever it's called, Holy Hell was the last effort of Tom Searle, and then Discourse is Dead.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, he was dead before that, but the last that he helped write, I'm pretty sure, right? That he had influence on.
He only helped with Doomsday, I believe.
Okay. I don't know. I listen to the jump between Holy Hell and For Those Who Wish to Exist, and as much as I like For Those Who Wish to Exist sonically, I think lyrically it's so much weaker. And then I listen to these three singles, and they're somehow even weaker than For Those Who Wish to Exist. And it just feels so bland and uninspired. Tear Gas especially is a slap into the face to Architect's Legacy, and I can't stand it. And I'm left feeling like this band is a shell of its former self. And, I guess Sam Carter really ultimately is the voice of Architects. He's Tom Searle, they replaced him instrumentally. Sam Carter, you can't necessarily replace vocally, right? So as long as there's Sam Carter, there'll be Architects. But I just don't like the direction they're taking. And as much as I liked Animals, I think that these are all cheap carbon copies of it, and it feels hollow. And even the release schedule aside, releasing an album like this that just feels like the same song 3 times, ultimately it just leaves a really sour taste in my mouth. And with that album last year, I was like, okay, this is a turning point for me. I'm going to like Architects from here on out. I'm excited. And it feels like it went from kind of a valley up to that peak last year, and it's just dipped down to an even harsher valley.
They did a U-turn.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels wrong. These songs feel wrong. They feel too okay from a band that even if I don't like their older material, I know what they're capable of. So when I get songs like these, they might be more fun to listen to, but as songs themselves, they just feel hollow and disappointing and lifeless.
Man,
anyway, there's my scathing
I
review of
cannot agree,
Architects.
but I'm gonna go back to Jake talking about the breakdown and highlight the part where it almost sounds like he walks. Sam Carter
He's in a
walks
different
away
room.
from the mic. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he says we're one and the fucking same. And I don't know. I thought that was really creative. Honestly, I thought it was something you haven't seen, and I'm curious how they would do it live. I'm pretty sure. I guess it would become like a mosh call, like point at the mic.
Yeah, if you pointed the mic out to the crowd to have the faint
Exactly.
like crowd voices doing it, yeah. And that's, you know what? I think that's another thing too, that as much as I think that it's lost its soul, it takes a special kind of band. As much as you think, oh, this band sold out, it takes a special kind of band to be able to write songs meant for arenas or for large crowds. And I think with the way that these are written, they're meant for arenas. They're meant for large crowds. I think that if their goal with this release schedule, with these songs, is to get a bigger audience and create a larger live audience too, people that are willing to come to their shows and how they'll respond, I think this is going to nail that. But for me and what I want, these aren't it. And I can see why a lot of fans, like older Architects fans, are pissed as well. That they feel like their favorite band has been gutted, because to me, these feel very gutted.
I'm a fan of this direction. I wasn't like you. I wasn't really a fan of early Architects, other than I'll say before All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us.
Yeah.
I was not really a fan. Like there's a few songs like Broken Cross and what is that song? Oh, you know what? I can't even remember the one where it's like you fucking pigs. I think this is more accessible Architects, and last year the album was in my top 4, I want to say, something like that. And I think these are weaker than that album. I will agree with you on that. I don't think it's like insanely terrible, other than Tear Gas.
I think we've had enough of a discussion about this song. Let's move on to these last 2 singles, because we're running it a bit long at this point.
We do have a lot of Currents have dropped their newest single, The Death We Seek.
Shout out Connecticut!
Shout out Connecticut.
You know, I might not love Currents, but I feel like I should go to a Currents show, like a local Currents.
Yeah, it's like a
headliner.
rite of
That would
passage
be
type of thing as a
epic.
Connecticut resident.
Hometown shows are always fun.
I bet they are.
Yeah,
Hey,
Bad Omens.
Bad Omens.
Fucking Richmond show.
Dude, all I get is Silversteed.
Yeah, well,
And Run
you
for
know,
I'm not the
Short.
biggest. I'm not the biggest. I do get written for short. Oh shit, that's coming up, isn't it?
Ah, fuck.
Hang on.
While you're doing that, I feel like I'm making some progress towards heavier music because
yes.
I don't think 2 years ago I would have liked this song, but I think this song is
Yes.
pretty good.
Yes. Okay. There
There's
we go.
one
We'll take
line
it.
in this song that almost took me out of it, but because it was only one line, it's in the playlist.
What was
I
the
think
line?
if it was
September
like
15th. Still. Oh, it's sold out.
it's-
Damn it.
whatever the heaviest line in the second verse is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one line that I can't understand. I still don't like it. But because it's only one line, I can tolerate it. If that was 2 or 3 lines, this might not have been a playlist ad, I'm gonna be real.
Dude, I don't know what kind of like hyperbolic time chamber Brian went into to go into this album, but this dude can pull off like some really good highs now, like high screams, and it sounds incredible. And his vocals, I don't know if it's the mixing or his vocals themselves, they sound a little different than the last album, but I kind of dig it. I mean, obviously it's Currents. The guitar work here is phenomenal. Those leads are amazing. And ultimately, I mean, it's a Currents song, but it's Currents done really, really well. And I'm excited for more Currents. This is the breakdowns in this song. I mean, the first breakdown, you know, great. That last breakdown, ooh. Metalcore is on a tear this year, I feel like there hasn't been as much metalcore this year that has been on my radar, but the ones that have been really, 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 really good. So, I love this. Even if I haven't had as much time with it.
I like the song, but it doesn't feel. It feels like the same.
Yeah. There's vocal evolution, but sonically it doesn't feel like it's really gone anywhere different.
And it's like, okay, I heard this on your last album.
Yeah.
And it kind of bugs me. Like, I like Currents, but I don't know. It's a little disappointing. And I'm hoping this is just a single to be safe and not just like the way it ends all over again.
No, I agree. We'll see. I mean, if you love Currents already, then, you know, this is more Currents. You'll like this.
Yes.
It's nothing new.
Or if you're like me, who only liked half of the Currents album from 2020, you still might like this anyway.
There you go. Jake, Justin, how about y'all tell us about this last one here?
Nerve releasing the 6th single off their upcoming album titled, well, the single is titled Blue.
Bleh.
They haven't announced what the album is.
Holy fuck, this is incredible.
This is the best Nerve single.
Yeah. I mean,
Ever.
like, on the day it dropped, I'm like, okay, it's close to bad. No, it's close to Bad Nature. No, this shit is unreal.
So-
This is peak Nerve.
I
This is
love
peak Nerve.
Dylan's vocals in this. It's incredible.
Dude,
Sounds
the
really
melody in the chorus is about as unfair as the entirety of The Death of Peace of Mind as an album.
Holy shit!
It's just, oh.
Every time his voice inflection finished the line "Every part of me is blue"
Yes,
was the
Yeah.
best part of the song.
that's what I'm saying. The melody, it's a fucking cheat code, dude.
Oh,
It's unfair. And okay, so their vocals have always been great. This is the best vocal performance, but sometimes their instrumentation isn't always there for me.
No.
They knock the instrumentation out of the fucking park on it too. It's just like with this song, if Nerve decides that they are going to announce the fucking album and drop it this year, cowards,
on the mouth.
please. With this song, there's a top 10 album of the year shot because of how strong this song is. Single-handedly. This song could single-handedly carry the rest of the album into my top 10.
And I just want to echo just like the instrumentation, along with like a really good mixing of electronics that you really don't notice on first listen, but if you go back and like listen to it, you'll like catch the hints of like the electronic nature to it. They do such a good job blending that sound together. This was, I think, co-written with IO Spirit, who's done some writing with Jillian for Loveless and a lot of other stuff. But this song in general, just the verses, verse 2, I love the lyrics of Shameless. I know you want to watch me lose. I can't fake it because you already broke my heart in two. I love the pre-chorus too. I never would have thought that the metaphor of like two miserable dancers, no closure, no answers. I never thought that would make as much sense as it does in this lyrical capacity. And just the ending portion of the song, where it repeats the chorus a couple times, and the guitars pick up, the drums. Nerve fucking knocked this song out of the park. This is my favorite single since Hopeless, and Hopeless already had like a really deep message that I was really enjoying. This doesn't get too deep, but it doesn't need to be. It's such a good song. Guilty Enough, this came out on the 31st. We're recording this on the 3rd of September. So we've had 4 days with it.
And how many times have you listened to it?
86.
Yeah, no big deal.
Guilty as charged. It has. Ivy was my number 1 at 85 for the month, and this overtopped it already.
Wow.
Holy shit, eh?
And
Interestingly enough, we haven't talked about my favorite song yet.
there's 3 or 4 other songs that we'll get into in EPs and albums that have kind of lingered around my top plays of the month. But no, fucking Nerve, beautiful job with this song.
This is what I have wanted from Nerve this entire year, and it feels so good to have it in my ears. This is a fucking earworm. This is an earworm of all earworms. And with that, that, as far as I'm concerned, ends off the strongest month of singles the entire year,
I
uncontested.
agree.
That is your opinion.
Yep, that is my opinion.
No, that's
We need to make up some
actually.
time, so let's get into this. Let's get into the EPs we've got. August decided, fuck it, all of the EPs. Justin, take it away on this first one.
We got one from Brave New World with Spaces Between Silence, Phase 1. I believe they're doing this sort of of Mice and Men, where they're just dropping the album in portions of 3. This has tracks Tar Pit, Asuna, and Frogs in a Well. Tar Pit being the latest one. This was a surprise. I can't remember how I found this band. I think it was a Discover Weekly, where I listened to Tar Pit, and I saw that they dropped this EP, so I listened to it all. And fuck, I was surprised by how much I really enjoyed Asuna. Asuna was a really good song. I loved the correlation between the harsher vocals and the cleaner vocals. Tar Pit is good. I feel like it's got similar sound to Asuna, but it doesn't really grab me as much as Asuna does. But and Frogs in a Well, I kind of forget about that. But honestly, Asuna carries this EP for me. In general, I don't think it's gonna be as high on my lists as some other EPs that I've released this year. Some we'll even talk about this month. But I still really like specifically the harsher vocals where it says, "I don't want to be fixed, don't want to be cured. It feels good to be sick." I really love the vocal inflection on that. But all in all, just like as to kind of keep it short, I think this EP in general is really good and kind of sets this band up, because they put it on their Spotify for followers of A Day to Remember, Silverstein and the Used.
Yeah,
That makes
that's
a lot of sense. It's a lot more like punk rock than I would have thought, and I would say most, if not all, of these songs could have been on like an old 2008 skating soundtrack, and I would be fine with that.
Yeah, I would say instead of the used, maybe A Day to Remember Silverstein and a band like Can't Swim really come to mind for me on this. I agree with you. As soon as definitely the standout track. I think I wanted to point out some lyrics from Tar Pit real quick. How do I love myself when I'm used to hating? How do I breathe without choking and gasping for air? How do I love myself when I feel like I've barely made it through this year? Um, and I think that like that works with the name of the song Tar Pits. I don't think they ever like drop it explicitly in the song, but that the idea that like you're slowly sinking in a tar pit, same sort of thing, like the metaphorical tar pit, you're sinking into self-deprecation and wondering how you'll get out of it. I thought that was really neat. Yeah, all in all, you told me I needed to listen to this. I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to it eventually. And you're like, oh, we're going to be talking about this month. I'm like, I'll listen to it now. But yeah, I mean, really, really solid. Nothing spectacular, but you know, 3 really good songs. I'm excited to see the upcoming EPs and the full final project this is on.
Let's move on. Emery Heights have dropped a brand new EP, Miles Away.
Took fucking forever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they announced this shit back in like January or something.
No, they announced like I think they were working on it in like November last year.
Okay,
And
whatever.
there were multiple times where it was just gonna get released and then it got delayed, and I think they were just finding some sort of label to kind of pick it up before they released it.
But it's finally here. It's finally out, and it's pretty good.
It's okay.
I think this EP gets hard carried by Pick Your Poison. Easily the best song on here.
Ooh.
Breakaway is forgettable, and I think Miles Away has an oddly satisfying chorus, but otherwise, it's just the Pick Your Poison show as far as I'm concerned.
I thought that was the weakest song on here. I thought Miles Away was the like overall best song, that Breakaway had the most standout moments. I couldn't tell you a thing about Pick Your Poison. That's interesting. Although I'm not very familiar with Emery Heights, so I'm going into this entirely unbiased. I have no expectations, and damn, was it good?
Yeah, we've been following them since Clarity came out, their debut EP, and Clarity I still think blows any of these singles out of the water.
I think Wildflower is their best song.
Well,
I don't think Pick Your Poison is that far behind.
Yeah, especially when they lean more into the heavier vocals, but I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion that I think it's just all pretty solid, but none of it stands out to be any different than what most bands otherwise do. I feel like when Clarity came out, I feel like they had a sound that was pretty differential, but with this, it kind of blends more into the mediocrity, and I kind of hope that with their next project that they release, it kind of leans more to that post-hardcore vibe that I like.
I think this band still has a lot of room to grow.
I mean,
their EP with Wildflower is the only song that I really remember. Whatever the other 3 songs on that EP, they didn't really stick with me. Pick Your Poison is the one solid song that I'm gonna stick with out of this, and that's fine. But I think this band has a lot of potential to grow, and like songs like Pick Your Poison and Wildflower are great. And I think with some more time, they can become a really solid post-hardcore band. Definitely, like, if you want to hop on the train, I think now is a pretty decent time to hop on. Give Emery Heights a listen, because they aren't perfect, but I definitely think that they could be a big name in a few years from now.
Very interested to see where they go with their sound after this. I don't know if it's going to be a blending of the 2 EPs or if it's going to be like a evolution of one or the other. I'm excited though. I'm still gonna keep an eye on them, but
I'm glad that they finally released something new, because it was a while since that debut EP with Wildflower came out.
yeah,
So,
I'm glad they kind of got things sorted.
I'm
with
glad
that.
they're still around, because they, from the moment I first heard them, they have had potential,
Mm-hmm.
and they went quiet for a while, but I'm glad they're still here.
Yeah, I agree.
Jacob, did you have any thoughts on the Emery Heights EP?
Not really.
It was fine.
It was fun.
I'll take it. Let's move on. Hot Milk have dropped their brand new EP, The King and Queen of Gasoline.
Is there a secret to say goodbye? It just gets harder every time.
And I know you guys are probably expecting me to go choo-choo, Hot Milk, Supremacy, Hype Train, baby, which I am. However, I'm more so saying it in anticipation for, now that this EP is out, the real hype train begins to the debut album.
Wait. They don't have one yet?
They have only released EPs up until this point. They do not have a debut album.
Huh. I did not know that. Oh yeah, that release from last year was a
It
EP.
was just an
Holy
EP,
shit. Yeah.
So it's about damn time that Hot Milk are on the way to a debut album. And I think this is just like a stop in a small town on the Hot Milk Supremacy hype train. I think that this EP has a lot of personality to it. This feels like something only Hot Milk could pull off. In saying that, this falls a lot more flat than their EP did last year. I think that they saved the best songs on this EP for the EP release itself. I think The King and Queen of Gasoline, The Secret Saying Goodbye, and Chloroform/Nightmares are the three best songs on here. Particularly The Secret Saying Goodbye. It has a sax solo. No further comment needed. But I feel like their EP last year had a lot more versatility, where this feels more refined into angsty pop punk. And I fell in love with Hot Milk for their versatility that they were offering in 2020 with songs like June Gloom and California's Burning, into last year with I Just Want to Know What Happens When I'm Dead and Split Personality. And this doesn't give me the variety of a Hot Milk sound that I was anticipating or hoping for. With that being said, it's still in my favorite EPs of the year list because I really enjoy Hot Milk, and there have just not been very many EPs released this year. But given my expectations from their past, my expectations were not met generally with the 6 songs on The King and Queen of Gasoline. It's very much a Hot Milk EP, but it's not stuck in my head the way that their older material has been.
I don't really have much to say, honestly.
I feel like I
think
covered it
Hot
pretty
Milk
well.
is a band that are they even a band or
Yeah.
a group that is like, I like what I hear, but I don't love what I hear, so I don't really return to them.
That's fair, and that's very much how I feel with this EP. The Secret Saying Goodbye was in rotation for the first week of the month, hard carried by the sax solo, and otherwise, yeah, like it's fine. I hate saying that about Hot Milk. That feels so disrespectful to Hot Milk to call it just fine. But really, like, compared to what I have expected from this band and how much I have been hyping them up, this did not meet my expectations, and I feel like I'm feeling more closely to how the rest of you guys are feeling about this EP than I ever have in the past.
That's unfortunate.
I came into this month expecting this to be definitively my favorite EP of the month, and I can't say that.
Wow. Now I'm curious to find out what is.
Damn, Derek really had to go AFK, huh?
He's taking a shit.
No, sorry. I'm back. I told you I didn't hear Hot Milk. You can go.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's why I left when I did. I had to check on my washer, bro. It was rotating so fast and knocked one of the pipes loose and spilled water everywhere. So I had to go deal with that.
Derek, do you have any thoughts on this Hot Milk EP?
No, I just told you I didn't hear it.
Let's move on. Let's
That
move
was
on.
Jake's cue to get back into the.
Derek,
Yeah.
you got any opinions on this Hot Milk EP?
Oh yeah, it was pretty good actually. My favorite track was
With that being said, let's talk about this next EP. Of Virtue have dropped the Sinner E EP.
Make mistakes, but this costs us everything. Tell me, is anybody out there? Can you?
We've not talked about this band on the podcast before, but I found them earlier this year. They dropped 2 singles. They dropped Sinner, which barely missed one recap earlier this year, and then they dropped Hypocrite as a single, which I thought was good, but ultimately I liked more music. I believe Hypocrite released in June, and June was just stacked with releases, so it didn't make the singles cut. However, the 4 songs here on this EP, together, they are really fucking good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was
As
alright.
as I said during the Hot Milk discussion,
fine.
I came into this month expecting Hot Milk to be my favorite EP of the month, hands down. And coming out of the month, I can't say that for certain because I think this EP is contesting it. I think that a lot of EPs this year for me have had 1, maybe 2 good songs on it, and then a lot of underwhelming. I think you hit 4 for 4 consistently really good songs here. And
I
think the
we can say
highlights-
that.
well, for you, yeah, Hypocrite's heavy.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Hypocrite is a fantastic pissed off anthem, going back to it on this EP. I like it a lot more now than I did a few months ago. Sinner is massive. And then Echoes is one of the few songs this year that I've been able to add to my Sad Vibes playlist. And although it has an uplifting message to it, that chorus of "Tell me, is anybody out there? Can you hear me?" through the static of the frequencies, the silence can be deafening. The lyricism on that hits a special chord with me in the same way that "Are You Listening" by Rivals does. Can anybody hear me? Like any lyric like that is gonna hit home, and Of Virtue have done that with Echoes. And to be the closing track on this EP, it just adds to the meaning and the message.
I love Echoes. It is my favorite track of this EP.
I am
and
so torn on what my favorite is, but I might be
It's
convinced to join you.
Not a question. I love the atmospheric vibes. That's an easy way to get to my heart. I love the opening where it's kind of the call out saying
It's
I
like
have warmth,
spoken
I have
word.
shel-
Yeah.
Yeah, I have warmth, I have shelter, I have food. I love that, but the chorus is really good. This is one of my most replayed songs of the month that wasn't a single. I just adore the instrumentation of this.
This was
Sen-
my first exposure to Of Virtue, and I am really satisfied with what I'm hearing.
I
So-
am also really satisfied with what I'm hearing. I think the clean vocals could use a little work, but it's something. This is like a band that I want to keep on my radar. Justin,
Yeah.
you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say that Center is kind of what the score should be nowadays, but it's
That's a take, and I
That
don't
it
know if I
almost
fully
feels-
agree.
It feels
but I
too
can see
heavy
it.
to be like the score.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I don't.
Sinner,
really know
Sinner
much about
to
the
me
score.
reminds me of Normandy in a sense.
I don't see that comparison.
Just like with a massive bouncy chorus, kind of. Anyway,
I mean-
I think this EP is great. It's well in my top 10 EPs of the year. I'm really satisfied with this. Time will tell if it stacks up at the end of the year, but probably the biggest surprise EP of the month for me. Which takes us to a split EP. Alpha Wolf and Holding Absence have dropped their split EP, The Lust and the Longing. I have one comment to make about this.
Ah,
Because we've
Here it
already
comes.
talked about Hotel Underground and Aching Longing. It's a shame that the best part of this EP is the Lucas feature on the Alpha Wolf song that I don't like.
Meanwhile, Coffin is the best Holding Absence song.
That's a take.
That is a.
That is-
no. Oh, there's a lot going on.
There's a
here
lot of
that-
takes going on.
I'm unpacking a lot at once right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to feel about it.
Basically, Aching Longing is solid. It's a solid Holding Absence song. Coffin honestly wasn't doing very much for me. It's another It's Fine. And then 60
Yeah.
centimeters 60 centimeters of Steel It's Alpha Wolf. I have not progressed. I have progressed with Currents. I have not progressed with Alpha Wolf. And as good as the Lucas feature is on 60 Centimeters of Steel, and as powerful as his vocals are in those choruses, it's not enough to redeem the song for me. And then there's Hotel Underground.
Okay, so I feel like we are going to be very split on this split EP.
Yes.
Personally, I think, well, people are going to hate me for saying this. I think the songs were released in worst to best order.
Thank you.
Oh.
No, Justin, I don't think you agree with me.
What? No, least to best, right? So top.
No, so the first song that was released, Aching Longing, is the worst. Second
Yes.
was Hotel Underground, second worst. Coffin was released third, so it's the
Oh no, I thought you were talking about track list. Track list, yeah, Coffin
No.
is the best.
no.
No, he's
I'm
talking
glad
about
you
order of
agreed with
release.
me.
No,
In
he's
order
saying
of
Aching
release.
Longing is the worst
No, I know what he
song.
means. I'm
Yeah.
just hearing what I want to hear.
Coffin is the second best song on the CP. And
Okay.
60 Centimeters of Steel is the best.
Feature of the year contender for Jacob? Question mark.
It could be. I honestly Oh, you put me on the spot now. I think the Lucas feature is amazing, but the parts that do it for me are actually the Alpha Wolf parts. Like when I hear shit, what is that lyric? It's like
Is it before the
I-
breakdown?
it's the first breakdown. It's
I
like
hate myself and you fucking love it or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
exactly. I hate myself and you fucking love it. And then it's like breakdown. And then it goes into Lucas. I think after hearing Lucas on this, I would like to hear Lucas go even like try some harsh vocals. I think he could do it, and I think it would work really well. Oh man, there's so much I want to talk about this EP. 60 Centimeters of Steel could be, well, actually, it is my song of. It is definitely my favorite release of the month. And then Coffin is on par with Birdcage. Not quite as good as Birdcage, but I'd say it's like a top 3 Holding Absence song, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
I wish I liked Coffin, bro.
It is so
I wish
good.
that song got stuck in my head. Like, Holding Absence, with the amount of emotion that they can put into a song, and a song with the title Coffin, that should be just an instant banger, and it's just unfortunately
I
not for me.
love how it's the closer of the album, or the EP as well. I think
Yeah.
it's perfectly
I-
placed there.
I really liked No More Roses. That was one of my favorite songs of last year. And this one is just kind of a more jovial version of that, in a sense. I feel like it's got just the right amount of upbeat atmosphere while also still
Yes, it's still
remaining-
sad. Yeah,
It's still sad, yeah. So that's what I love about it. It's still not my technical favorite. Like, honestly, No More Roses is still my favorite, just because that one sticks in my head more than this.
that line, as I fell from the apex of it all, I found you like a nail in a coffin.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Derek, I actually want to hear what you have to say because you haven't really said anything.
This is a collaboration I didn't know that I needed till it happened, and now I'm really glad that it did because it makes a surprising amount of sense. I think that it's good. I think Coffin's the best song on here. Well, it's either Coffin or Aching Longing. And I think 60 Centimeters of Steel is close behind. And I think that those 3 songs are leagues above Hotel Underground. And it's not even that Hotel Underground is bad. It's just that it's an Alpha Wolf song, but it doesn't feel as strong as a lot of the stuff off of A Quiet Place to Die, which I loved.
Yeah, I'll
Whereas
agree with that.
Coffin feels like it's on par with all of the strongest material off of The Greatest Mistake of My Life for me.
Yes.
So I've got 2 really good Alpha Wolf and Holding Absence together songs, 1 really, really good Holding Absence song, and then an okay Alpha Wolf song. And so that kind of drags it down for me, but Aching Longing I think is still incredible. I love that song. Coffin, I didn't know what to expect, and I came out on the other end. It reminded me a lot of Car from Stone by Dayseeker, which my number 2 Dayseeker song. I think I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Without Me. But that same sort of tempo and the vibe and the lyricism is very, very, it resonates a lot with me. And I'm left feeling, even if I don't like Hotel Underground as much, I'm still not going to skip it because it's still a good Alpha Wolf song. It just doesn't hold up as strongly to the rest of the material on here, which is all incredible. And I really want to see more collaborations like this between bands that are softer and heavier that have that potential to mesh well with one another. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, damn, this is the best collaboration ever, and I didn't know I needed it. Now that I have it, I need more. But between Alpha Wolf and Holding Absence, and like, look, if these guys wanted to fuse and make like a 10-person band, they would put out Album of the Year for the rest of forever. Like, you know? But no, I'm very happy with this. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm happy.
I think it's very interesting. Like it's like each song is about like something totally different, and like 60 centimeters of steel is about like some Japanese death ritual, and then Hotel Underground is literally about a shitty hotel, I'm pretty sure. And then you get I actually don't know what Aching Longing is about, honestly. I think it's my least favorite song because the feature feels so out of place.
See, I think it works. But,
yeah, I think the Alpha Wolf feature actually works.
So, and I think here's the thing too, is that like the meanings of all the songs, at least as far as I can tell, I'm very surface level on these, but that the songs really, like, it does feel very split and disjointed in terms of meaning sonically, but somehow it still makes sense, and I think that's the most intriguing thing about this EP to me.
Another thing
is that it doesn't work, and in not working, it works.
Another thing I noticed was the lyrics, like the EP is called The Lost and the Longing. The lyrics are taken from both songs with the collab. Like the chorus of 60 Centimeters of Steel that Lucas sings is I'm lost, and then Aching Longing it's also in the chorus. It's I thought it was interesting that the titles were in the collab songs.
Just a neat little detail.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like we have too much more to add, so I feel like we should move on to our final EP for the month of August, Nightlife, and their EP, Fallback.
So, I don't remember if it was me or Justin who first sent this to the podcast. Or like to the group chat or whatever, but I found them through oh god, I don't know if it's Hansel or Hansel, and I'm really sorry. I feel bad because he is literally probably the most talented dude in the scene right now, I think, overall. And he covered Drink About It by Issues, and a couple of the members of Issues commented on it, like, oh, this is really good. It was after a couple months after Tyler Carter got kicked out, I believe. And they were all encouraging him to do music, and I think that's when Nightlife came around to be a project. And right off the gate, they sounded incredible, and I think that this, as their first, to me, seems like the first cohesive EP. You know, the other one, the New Low EP, had 3 really good songs on it. The way that these work together is insane.
So good. It's so fucking good.
There's the obvious, and Hansel tweeted it out, and I need to find it, and I'm gonna find it while I talk about the first 2. But the fact that the first 2 transition into one another so well is incredible. I mean, Nightlife type beat by itself is really good, and I think a masterclass in production, as this entire EP is. But the way that it sonically introduces the EP and then subsequently transitions into Fallback is probably one of the best, like, intro tracks into track 2s I've heard maybe ever.
Yeah.
I
love Nightlife Type B. I actually wanted to talk about that last month, but since this was releasing so close, we thought might as well just talk about it all as a whole.
Yeah. So,
I love that transition though.
Something else I want to talk about the cohesion is I think Fallback, I've listened to this a couple times, I still can't remember off the top of my head if Fallback transitions directly into Fool Me Once. But Fool Me Once, Hard For Me, and No Pleasure, they're all together as like one song. And it's really, really cool. Hard For Me kind of works as like an interlude between the 2. But with Hard For Me, the introduction, and I'm reading this directly from Hansel Sweet because I didn't notice it, and then once I noticed it, I was like, holy fuck. that the intro to Hard for Me is the ending of Fool Me Once, but tuned down. And it's like sampled. And then
Ooh.
the outro of Hard for Me is the sample of the beginning of No Pleasure. And No Pleasure is faster paced than Fool Me Once, and Hard for Me increases from 135 BPM to 145 BPM gradually to bring you from one song to the next.
Fuck.
It's so cool.
That's
Look,
so fucking good.
Hansel, his voice is phenomenal, okay? I need to find the name of the guy. Where's the guy? Here he is. Julian Lofton is the guitarist and the bassist for this band.
Beautiful work.
There is not a better bassist in the scene. I'm doubling down on that right now.
No. You know what? I met the bassist of Rain City Drive last night, and I can assure you he's better.
He
You
might
would
be
be
a cooler
wrong.
dude, but he's not pulling this shit off. All right, nobody. Actually, okay. I feel like I'm pulling the Issues comparison, but Skylar Accord, I think, might be up there too. And if Skylar Accord's number one, Julian Lofton's number two, because the groove that this guy manages to pull off throughout this whole EP, and the way that it's that tone on the bass is incredible.
Oh, it's so good.
And the drummer too. What's his name? Isaiah Walker. The rhythm on all of this, everything is driven forward, and it's all brought out so wonderfully by this masterful production that Hansel does. It is this. Look, I get pissed at bands a lot for like, the mixing's off, the production's off, like nerd emoji my way through, like I don't like this song for whatever reason. Not only is this incredible, but it's flawless. And I know that probably, Hansel will go back and listen to this and be like, oh, fuck, I missed this. I would have done this differently. I'm listening to this and I'm ascending. Like, every note has so many nuances and layers to it. There's so much going on here, but it still sounds so cohesive and so good. And the fact that every single track somehow manages to kind of lead into or lead up to the next one. And the experimental nature of No Pleasure, too, is just a phenomenal way to close out the album. I was kind of scared that with how good Nightlife Type Beat was with opening it, that No Pleasure wouldn't, necessarily close it out as well, but I think it does. And I think it's an incredible standalone song, works well as the last song on the EP. Fool Me Once is probably my second favorite track on here besides Fallback. Fallback is just unnecessarily a banger.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I've shown that song to so many people.
Man,
If you don't mind me interjecting here.
Yeah,
real
go for
quick,
it, because I've said most of my piece, but yeah, go.
Unfortunately, the last three songs fell a bit flat for me, but Nightlife Type Beat into Fallback is incredible. And Fallback is what I wish the Varsity album from earlier this year sounded.
Yes.
hold
Yes.
on. You have my attention. Let me listen to this.
Have you not heard this, Jacob?
I've listened to it like once.
If you liked the Varsity album, you will adore this.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right here. This is my EP of the year.
It's probably going to end up in the top 5 for me. I've got a couple that I think this is sitting at number 3 right now, and I don't see it leaving my top
Man.
5. Just
This is the happiest EP of the year. You've pretty much
It's so
said
much
most of what I wanted to get into.
I wish I could explain things like Derek.
As I was saying, no Pleasure is my favorite song off the album, or off the EP. Nightlight Type Beat is close second, but
You can't be putting Fallback out of the top 2.
I'm
That's
putting it
just-
out of the top 3. Thank you.
Damn.
But
That is
no,
so disrespectful.
good.
so
All of these as a whole are just so masterfully well done. It is hard to find talent that is this masterly crafted. I feel like this is what we
Polyphia.
would.
it's
I feel like
Polyphia
this-
levels of group of talented
Well,
people.
Well, I was about to say, I think this is what we'd get if we got a Paloma album within the next 5 years.
Ooh, yeah, right.
Ugh.
Finally announced on this an EP, but yeah, it feels unfair to me to have people this gifted at each of their respective roles in this band. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm pulling the Issues comparison. I think the group, if I had to pick a top 3 groups of people, like bands that are just so talented at what they do, it's in no particular order: Issues, Polyphia, and Nightlife. I mean, just to have this much talent backed by Hansel's ear for production and mixing, and just the slightest, the vocal layering, the stacks, the little bits, and even if it's only 1 second or half a second of something, every piece of every song, it just creates something so special. You know, with Issues, they're writing music, but this, not when they dropped the debut EP, it filled that issue size hole in my heart, and this really seals the deal that if you're not paying attention to Nightlife, you need to be, because this is a phenomenal EP, and this band is full of phenomenal people who are down to earth as well, from what I've seen on Twitter, you know, and just great people making great music. I can't recommend this enough.
This is not sitting nearly as high in my top EPs of the year because the last 3 tracks did fall a little flat. But Nightlife type beat into Fallback had me thinking, oh shit, this might be like top 5 EP of the year contender. Like, I think there's very likely that the follow-up EP to this, or like a follow-up album to this, could be making a run for the end of the year list for whatever category it's in. This Fallback is just an undeniable, just earworm. The R&B influences are fantastic. As I said, it's what I wish Varsity sounded like from earlier this year. Because that album did not hit as much as I was hoping it would.
Be careful what you say here, Jake.
Let's move on.
Yo, let's get into the albums.
Let's
I think
start
it's
things
good,
off
Jake.
right then. We've got Unprocessed with their album Gold.
When you're drunk in a world like
All right, Justin. Here's the question I've been waiting to ask you all day.
Oh, it's related to this. Okay.
Is this band from Sweden?
No, they're German.
Ah,
Got Europe on lock.
That's why Berlin is speak solely in German.
we didn't even pick up on that.
No. Oh, no. Wait. You like this?
This fucking slaps. This is my favorite
Let's
album of the
go!
month.
Hell yeah. See, I was afraid when I put this in, because I only gave it like 2 or 3 full listens before I was like, yeah, this kind of needs to go in to see what the other guys would hear about this.
Dude, I was
Personally-
actually blown away when I heard this.
Good. Yeah, I really like this. For those who have not heard about this band, it's kind of like got a gents, like a more relaxed gent style.
Imagine Polyphia, but chiller and with vocals.
Yeah,
That's the comparison I was going to make. It's like if Polyphia was more metal and had vocals.
So they're actually supporting Polyphia directly on tour right now. I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
that, but yeah,
It's pretty.
Okay.
on a fully
That-
sold out tour, and
that
you can
makes
see
sense.
why.
Yeah, I actually think this is what I wish Polyphia sounded like. Or maybe Polyphia just needs vocals, and I know they released something with vocals recently. But
All right, it's my turn to say, be careful what you say.
no, I really, really like this album.
Good. There were some standouts from this. I thought I would have to give each individual track some time before I really got invested. Some of the standouts for me were Scorpio. I think Rain was also a really good opener.
Yes.
Berlin, mainly because I think the German language in that song in particular is really expertly done and just makes it such a good song. The Longing had Uncleans, which I was not ready for, but I still thought worked really well in the song, so they get a pass. But just in general, it's a really good song. It is a time investment. It is 16 tracks.
It's almost an hour long.
It is almost an hour long, but I usually use a lot of my time at work listening to
Dude.
albums.
This is the album that Justin shows me, and I end up fucking loving.
Hell yeah!
This is this year's
I
album.
knew I would get one
I'm
this
t-
year.
This is
the Venn diagram.
This is the Imminence. This is the Noia.
This is the
I
Noia.
think I think Red Wine's my favorite song.
That's
I
a
can
good
say-
take because that's one of like 3 songs I liked on this album.
Red Wine's also good. I can see you liking this because it almost bridges the gap between Guardin and Eminence, I would say.
I would not make that comparison, but
I kind
Interesting.
of get it with like the kind of vocal styles, but the instrumentation of like an Eminence song. But that's just me.
I kind of hinted. I don't want to like ruin you guys' thunder because clearly you guys like this album, but I just want to get it out of the way since I hinted at it. Red Wine, The Game, and Portrait are really the only 3 songs that have stuck with me. Specifically, Portrait, I think, just has really unique instrumentation. And I think my problem with this album just comes with the instrumentation is so complex that after a few songs, it kind of just becomes white noise to me. And I very quickly tap out from the listening experience on an album that's this long, and I don't know, there's something about the complexity of this album that makes me tap out and enjoy it significantly less. When the guys in this band are unbelievably talented, I'm not taking that away, but for my taste, this is not doing much for me.
I could literally listen to this on repeat all day. It's like, it sounds so much like Polyphia. I already said this, but it's chiller. And it's more easy listening than Polyphia. Like, I feel like with Polyphia, you have to be like, appreciate like every single little detail. With this, you can just like sit back and like vibe to it.
Surprisingly enough, none of these songs are still my favorite from them. They had a single back 2020 with called A Real with Tim Henson and Clay Gober of the Omnific. And I think it's still probably their best because it's almost like a Issues song and it sounds very much
Like Glober's in Polyphia. Pretty sure.
Derek, you need to listen to this album.
I know. I like
I-
Unprocessed.
I
I just haven't heard
really-
the album.
Yeah, he didn't get to it.
You will enjoy this. I
I've
guarantee.
Found them, I think, through Dead Rose back in 2020. So I'm very
I've
excited
never
to
heard of
listen
this
to this.
band before.
I think I found them because somebody said it was like Polyphia and Veil of Maya had a kid. And I was like, well, now I gotta fucking
Veil of
listen to
Maya?
this. Yeah, it's the
Um,
gent style.
We should probably cut it here because we've got a lot of
Yeah, this
stuff to
is
still
my
get
favorite
to.
album of the month.
Good.
Can't see it, but I'm rubbing my hands together right now.
All right. Royal Coda released their album To Only a Few at First.
So
Okay,
I-
everybody.
Hi, Derek. Derek,
Hi, Jake.
it's time for our Venn diagram, I
Yes,
think?
sir.
All right,
Yeah, just
so...
when I had our moment.
It was nice knowing you, Jacob.
and pass the torch. This is my favorite Swancore album, albeit
Yes.
I've only heard like 6.
That's
What this
interesting.
album does right is it's the most average of all Swancore albums I've heard, which means that it lacks all of the flaws, but it also has not as many highs, but it does have We Slowly Lose Hope for Things to Come.
Banger.
And the rest of it's solid. It's like with other Swancore albums like Idola last year or with Dance Gavin Dance, it's like a lot of songs I just am not interested in listening to, whereas at least with this, like, I can vibe to it in the background. Like, I don't have to actively love everything I'm hearing, but it's not going to put me off in the way that a lot of other Swancore bands do.
And I think
this is
part of
fun.
that might be that like the weedly or like noodly guitars are tuned back a lot. Like they sound a lot more kind of traditional than you would expect. So it's less of that traditional Swancore sound and more of like a post-hardcore sound.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is gonna sound rude,
Oh,
but I don't.
watch your words.
Okay, when I saw
got you.
Royal Coda with Dance Gavin Dance,
Mhm.
the first thing Kurt Travis said, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna put you to sleep." Guess what happened?
What?
I started getting tired, and I was kind of like dozing off during their set.
Damn.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not,
I think
but
so. I would say it is, and I think it's because this band, especially with their debut album, but I guess if you count this might be the third album. I can't remember if they counted that last one as an EP or not. Is that the second or third album? Anyway, that they've always gone for a very psychedelic sound, almost.
That is a very good word to describe it.
Yeah. So the album is more like a trip than anything else.
Holy shit, that is like the perfect word to describe it.
Okay, good.
That is literally how I felt. Holy shit.
Go. Yeah, this album puts me in like a psychedelic trance, and I think that's part of why I enjoyed it on first listen, but I was missing a lot of the songs that I now love. And I think it's because I was too busy vibing with the experience to listen to the nuances in each of the songs and to the album overall. This is an album that is very much served by re-listens, and I think I'm on like 12. I think this and Hail the Sun have really proved to me that all it takes because before, them and Hail the Sun and the more recent Idola album, that I liked a few songs here and there, but what it really takes is for a Swancore band to work with Chris Crummett for me to like them. And then once they get that kind of Dance Gavin Dance style detailed production to it, it doesn't matter what else they sound like, because the production is so good that it enables everything else to be so much better than it was, or than it sounded before. Because I don't think that any of the members of this band are any more talented now, like drastically more talented than they were when they dropped their album in 2018, or that album EP 2019, I think Compassion it was called. But everything just sounds so much better now, and it creates that experience. I think this album, in being more in putting me in that psychedelic trance, it has a lot of bouncy swagger to it, which I think, We Slowly Lose Hope for Things to Come does that. Insatiate the Senses, Screen Time Overload. That gif of the cat where it's just like bouncing its head and vibing.
Cat
Know what I'm
Jam.
talking about?
Cat Jam.
That's me during Insatiate the Senses. That chorus, the tempo, all of it, it's just such a bop. And it's I owe this partially to the work of Sergio Medina and or Sergio, I don't know, and Will Swan, that dueling guitar work. That there's so much groove here, and I think it's really fascinating to me just how diverse Will Swan can make his guitar tones. Because like I was mentioning to you, Jake, it's got some of that noodly, moments on the guitar here and there in Insatiate the Senses, the title track, the closer, but overall it's a very tame and less Swancore and more post-hardcore album, and the fact that Will Swan can pull it off. The last time that I heard something like that was when there was a project called Cianvar, which had the lead vocalist
I've seen them live.
Yeah, so that was a lead vocalist from Hail the Sun with the guitarist and the drummer from Royal Coda. So, yeah, I've seen them live too. I was at 2018 Dance Gavin Dance Tour, and they were phenomenal. And I think there's a moment on the closer, the last 30, 45 seconds, that are very heavily inspired by that. It's really cool.
It just made me sad. I remember that's the last time I saw Icy Stars.
Oh, yeah. It's the only time I've seen Icy Stars. We need them back. We need them music as soon as possible. But, I mean, it's always easy for me to praise Will Swan, but I wanted to praise Sergio Medina as well. His guitar work is just nothing short of impressive. The fact his bass work on filling in on that Dance Gavin Dance Tour, nobody can fill Tim Furyk's shoes, but he did a damn good job.
Does he have an afro?
Yeah.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, you're right.
He's very fun to watch.
Yeah, he filled in for Tim during Swanfest and the tour. Joseph Arrington's drum work and some of the time changes that he pulls on this album are incredible. And Stefan Gotch's work on the bass is really the basis, I think, that all of the other instruments and the vocals need to succeed. It's so groovy. And Kurt Travis sounds better than ever too. He's been in 80 million projects. He released an album with Golden Necklace, I think last year, and that was really good. But the full range of his voice here is awesome, going into his rasp and delving into some like hip hop style choices. I mean, We Still Lose Hope for Things to Come is probably the biggest example of that. And in the album being an experience, the second half of the second to last song, It Found a Different Path, is just like, I can't help but like sway to it, I guess. Like it's just this whole experience that you go through, and I love it. I think As We Fall Into Deep Waters is an incredible opener, and somehow Where the Air Seemed to Cease is an even better closer. Like I mentioned before, it's got that Sianvar influence to it. I think if you listen to the last like minute of the closer on this album, and then go listen to the last minute of Stay Scared, they're all by Sianvar. They're almost identical, and it's really cool because I love Stay Scared when I was first getting into Swancore like 4 years ago. So it was a neat little callback. Vocally, instrumentally, lyrically, it's really lyrically complex too. I don't have any off the top of my head, but just going through with the lyrics on for each of these songs is really interesting. It adds a whole new layer to all of this. It's mesmerizing. It's psychedelic. It flows perfectly track to track. I couldn't think of a better way to put it, but it feels like the between like the vocal and instrumental flow, and then like on Screen Time Overload, Kurt is like speaking French in my ears. It feels like this album is making love to me. And I don't know how else to put it, but it's just like this otherworldly experience where I'm along for the ride and just enjoying the full range of what this band has to offer. And I don't get a lot of albums like that very often. And like I said, I didn't appreciate everything on first listen, but with every listen, I find something new or some nuance to enjoy. Very similar to that Nightlife EP in that way. I love this album. And with the production changes with Chris Crummett and all the stylistic choices here, Royal Coda's really gone from a project that I was kind of interested in passing and like I would check out just because of the ties to Dance Gavin Dance, to now it's got my full attention and then some. And I think that this is Kurt Travis at his best. And even if his projects don't necessarily always stay around, maybe put out an EP or album or two and then move on to the next one, I hope that this stays around for a long time because I think this band has a lot to offer.
I don't have too much more I could add. As far as I'm concerned, this album is We Slowly Lose Hope for Things to Come and Friends.
This is my favorite album of the month, maybe of the summer, ? And I give it my highest recommend.
Also, please go support the band. I know Kurt was recently robbed while he was
Yes.
on tour.
Yeah, his house got broken into and they stole his car and then crashed into a field. And they
Yeah.
stole like his custom guitars.
This is like the day after I saw them too. This is kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go support. I mean, obviously support all the bands you love, but you know, the music industry is hard, especially for the bands in the scene. So if you can find any way, you know, Saving Vice with their expenses, Royal Coda and Kurt Travis, just support the bands you love because they make the scene that we love.
That
I'm
takes us
excited
to
for this one.
our next album, which under most circumstances should be the biggest artist we talk about.
No.
But not
yes,
this month.
it should.
It should, but this month it's not. We have I Prevail, who have finally dropped their album, True Power.
Are you afraid of the dark? It's coming straight for your heart. Do you know
I say finally dropped. They announced this like 2 months ago.
Mhm.
This
They
is
only
a
got two
very
singles.
this is a very fast turnaround for an album. And as I said when we talked about bad things last month, I was scared. I was very scared. Because Trauma was a very mixed album for me. Bow Down and Rise Above It and Hurricane are all incredible songs. And
Jake is
then
speaking facts.
the other half of that album just does nothing for me. And if you consider the fact that Bow Down and Hurricane were singles, I believe anyway. The point being that like the singles leading up to True Power had me cautiously optimistic that I'm afraid that I'm going to like the singles and then the album's going to be 50-50. We don't live in that timeline. This is my favorite album of the month, uncontested, by quite a long shot. And I think the only song that falls flat is unfortunately the closer in Doomed. Slow ballad type closers generally don't work for me unless they have a build to them, and Doomed is just a slow ballad. I wish that wasn't holding me back from ranking this album even higher, but it's hard for me to find flaws in the rest of this album, if I'm being honest.
All right, Derek.
I want to hear what Justin has to say first.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I feel like Derek and I are on the same page with this album, though.
Oh, it's time for me to hurt some dreams.
You're not
yes,
gonna
I
hurt
need
anybody
Justin to
except Jake.
eviscerate this. It's gonna make me happy. I don't get to hear Justin eviscerate things a lot. He's always
So-
very passive. I need this.
So I will say, I did like some parts of this album. In fact, Fake is still in my repeat rotation. Surprisingly, there's Fear and Letting Go. I love the transition from the prologue opening into it. I thought it easily is the best song off the album, and it's not close. Bad Things is good. I liked Bad Things as a single, and it's good here. Doomed, I adored that they did something different because a lot of stuff off of a post-traumatic just wasn't feeling right for me, and a lot of stuff off this kind of blended a lot into mediocrity for me, and kind of just didn't separate itself enough to make it interesting for me. Doomed, I think, did that, and Closure as well. I'll say, I would say the last four on the album are probably some of my favorites. The Negative and Closure, good. Doomed, good. Everything else, I didn't like. And that's just because I'm not a fan when you get kind of just generic sounding hardcore music.
I
And
actually. Oh, go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Oh, I was just gonna say is, I feel like it's when bands actually show what they can do and not just be heavy for the sake of it, where I think they prevail, and funnily enough, I prevail. Kind of miss the mark in a lot of that stuff. Again, when they do it different and they actually show they're talented, Doomed, Fake, there's Fear and Letting Go, and
Okay.
kind of the Negative and Closure, I will say, are pretty good. The others, forgettable.
Man, I
All
think you
right.
kind of nailed it.
Oh, good.
I think he did.
Oh, good.
There are a few good songs on here. I think There's Fear and Letting Go is good until the build-up starts talking about writing his name in cement. I don't really get. I think the problem is the songwriting, the lyricism, specifically.
No, I think the
No.
lyricism's fine on this.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd think by a third album they would have some.
See, I don't think so. I think to me, so I don't like. Well, I think this album's okay, and I think it's bookended by 5 really good songs. I guess 4 if you count the opener transitioning into Fear, There's Letting Go, and then the last 3. And I think everything. Sorry, Justin, from Fake to the Negative
No,
is
hold
just
on.
okay.
No, I can see why.
What am I holding for here, Jacob? You're free to disagree with me, but I need to know what you're disagreeing with me
You're
on.
right, but Fake is included in the good half of the album.
I don't like the chorus.
After Judgment Day, until you get to Visceral.
Nah, Closure and Visceral slap. I don't want to hear
Actually,
any Closure fucking.
I need to listen
Any-
to Closure again, but
anything on
Visceral,
that, bro.
Visceral slaps. Doomed. I read this online. I was like, it's totally accurate. Doomed is literally a Sleep Token song instrumentally.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Missing Limbs, minus the like kind of ambient build up at the very end, but of Missing Limbs, I mean. It's very similar, I guess, to that last closer, which is I Don't Belong Here, which is honestly a top 3 I Prevail song for me, maybe top 5. That's so fucking good. Actually, no, it has to be top 5 because Bad Things Bow Down. And yeah, okay. Anyway, my thing with this is that I think that I Prevail put a lot of effort into this album. This to me feels very similar to The Path by Fit for a King, where I don't like it as a whole, but it feels like the band put a lot into the album. Like, even if a lot of the songs kind of blend together into being okay or mediocrity for me, I know I Prevail put a lot into this. I can feel
see.
it.
I can see that, but some of the lyricism is just awful.
Well, and here's what I think the band's trying to do. I think with including, and I think I mentioned this in the Discord, but I think I Prevail is trying to be this generation's Linkin Park. I think by introducing the rap vocals and the way that they're trying to ascend the ranks of popularity within the rock metal scene, they're never going to be Linkin Park. But I
Well, of
think
course
with that,
not, because
yeah.
I personally I find Mike Shinoda a better vocalist than Eric is.
that's
Maybe
not
for the
comparing
I
apples
would
to
say
apples.
for this, yeah, I would say for this style of music, maybe like rock or metal with rap in it. I think that this I Prevail. When I first heard Lifelines, I was like, this band is going to be so good. Lifelines, the title track
That
was one of my
is
first
so-
metalcore songs.
Heart
I
versus
ever got
Mind as
into.
well, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And then I got Bow Down as a single. And I remember exactly where I was, what time of day it was, and what I was doing when I first heard that song. And I couldn't put it down. And I thought this band is fucking ascended. And there, Trauma was a top 10 album of 2019. I'd say it still is. Even if I don't love every song, I don't think there's a skip on it. And I think what it is for me is that the band goes in too many directions and has gone in a direction that I didn't want them to. I think I Prevail had the potential to be the best generic metalcore band of all time.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes. 100%.
You give me 15 Bad Things or Bow Downs or Viscerals and album of the year forever and ever and ever.
They could have gone like the A Day to Remembered route, like an easy core band too.
Yeah,
and it would have been.
I mean, Brian
been
Burkheiser
so
is
good.
like. I think Brian Burkheiser's a top 3 clean vocalist in the scene. Nobody nails a chorus like he does, or has the potential to. I think there's some choruses on here that fall flat, and I think that's where this band and this album loses me, is that the more that they stray into the experimental side, I think that the more fans that they're going to gain, but the less that I like it. And so I don't not like anything here. I think a lot of these songs have some really fucking good breakdowns. Some of my favorite breakdowns in this album come from songs I don't like. And I think that just different individual parts on this get repetitive with a lot of the rap style vocals. And I mean, you know me, I love rap. I just think that some of the songs in here feel repetitive and a style of metalcore that I wish I Prevail wasn't doing. And so I'm left feeling okay. And I think that this band had a lot of potential to be my favorite metalcore band of all time, especially with how talented Eric is. The fact that he can sing, he can do regular uncleans, the man can do gutturals. He was on a Brand of Sacrifice song and did gutturals. Like, there's nothing he can't do. This band has all the potential in the world, and I feel like with some of the creative choices that they've made, it'll get them more fans, but it's squandered their potential for me. So I'm like, okay, I got an I Prevail album. I got some really good songs that I'm going to spend a lot of time with. The chorus on Visceral is unmatched, but Bad Things is one of my favorite songs of the year. I love the new metal vibe of Self-Destruction. You know, There's Fear and Letting Go is an incredible opener along with the intro to it. Body Bag is still great. I love Closure and Doomed. Everything in the middle's got some great moments. But
I think you hit the nail on the that's
hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head.
The funny thing is, I feel like everything you just said in those last 15 seconds is absolutely how I feel about the album, and I disagree with everything you said for 5 minutes prior.
I mean, that's fair. Look, I'm glad you like it. They're not going the direction that I want them to, but if I can get, I may never have a full album, but if I can get my 5 to 7 songs of every album that I really, really, really like, and songs with other moments that I'm happy I heard them, fuck it.
No,
if this is the direction I Prevail is going, then it is what it is. I like it.
Imagine if, I'm thinking like if they did like a Wage War kind of thing where they had like one experimental song, like Wage War is like Manic, or like a few experimental songs instead of like so many. I think you're right.
I don't even think there's that many experimental songs on here. I think Self-Destruction and Fuck What You Think You Know are the only experimental songs on this album.
Yeah, I think Trauma was experimental. With this one, they've decided we're gonna have 2 vocalists who can sing, we can rap. We got the uncleans. This is our sound, and they've established a sound, and it works at times. It feels a little redundant at others. Whatever. I'll take what I like. I'll accept what I don't, and I'll move on because I've got so many other songs that I love in the older parts of their discography that I'll take what I can get off this one.
I feel like you guys have all aired your baggage.
Our grievances.
This album. Let me talk about why I love this. Because I came into this probably the most skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming out as the strongest defender of this album.
That's how I felt with Rain City Drive.
I think There's Fear and Letting Go is one of the strongest openers of the year. That chorus is... Oh, I have been close to making the call that There's Fear and Letting Go is better than Bad Things. I'm not there. I think the chorus in there's Fear and Letting Go is the best chorus on this album. I mean, I almost disagree with saying that in the moment, but like, it's fucking close. And then the breakdown of that song where it says nothing's permanent is just a fantastic way to set up this album, and especially in a song called There's Fear and Letting Go. Trying to let go of things is realizing that nothing's permanent and that things are going to change. I just think it's an awesome call out into a sick breakdown. Body Bag is still a pissed off anthem. The rap verse in that song is fantastic. Self-Destruction is fucking nuts. That song has grown on me so much.
That song has grown on me as well.
It is unfair that whoever decided to allow Eric to scream, "Yeah, I am the one, Alpha Omega, I won't be outdone," is just like,
I need that on a shirt.
Yeah. That needs to be a merch design, like, yesterday. It's filthy, it's disgusting. Bad Things, top 10 song of the year, as I said last month. I think the weakest songs on this album are, other than Doomed, are Fake, Judgment Day, and Closure. Sorry, Dare.
It's okay.
But Fuck What You Think You Know is a top 3 song on this album. The instrumentation reminds me of Grandson, and boy, you know, I've been in a Grandson drought this year. So when I get anything that reeks of Grandson in even a slightest bit, I'm gonna just bite at the teeth for it. And Fuck What You Think You Know does exactly that in the guitar tone. And not to mention, Eric just delivers a vocal performance of just insane caliber. The delivery on Fuck What You Think You Know is just incredible. I'm stomping around my room to that shit. Deep End is just, Brian gets to shine on Deep End. That song has grown on me a lot as well. I think Long Live the King and Choke are probably the 2 most generic songs on this album. I still love them. I think particularly Choke, the opening riff after Eric is like, choke, is sick. And I think Long Live the King is just a massive arena hit, which is kind of exactly what they're gearing up towards at this point with how big they've become. And Visceral and Closure are probably 2 of my least played songs on the album. Closure, as I said, not one of my favorites, but Visceral has an undeniable chorus. And unfortunately, Doomed at the end of the album just doesn't do much for me. I think, like, if it had a closer in the same vein of, like, The Fight Within by Memphis May Fire, this album is not just pushing top 10, it's pushing towards, like, top 5, top 3.
I think one thing I forgot to mention is the amount of times I heard the word demon or the devil in this album really annoyed me.
I feel like I've said it a lot this year when I disagree with you guys, and it's a terrible rebuttal. But sometimes you just enjoy the music, you know? Sometimes it's just like...
Hey man, it's all subjective.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly. But it's like,
subjective.
with the Architect song, I still think Tear Gas is a solid song. You guys, like, hate it. But, like, I don't have any good reasoning for why I like it other than it makes me happy. I enjoy when those sounds go through my ears. And that's kind of how I feel about this song. It's like, I just think that everything I Prevail is doing here is great. It just works for me, you know?
See, that's so fucking funny to me because I say the exact same thing. Where like I send a song, like it is a tangent. I promise I'll make it short. But one of my friends makes music, and I sent him Hair Out by Stand Atlantic, and he was like, "Oh, I fucking hate this," and I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, it's just the same 3 chords over and over again, and this and that." And he's like, "There's no variety." And I'm like, well, this is one of my favorite songs of the year. Like, I just like,
asshole.
You know, the music goes into my ears. I listen to it. It makes me happy. It's not that deep. And then I turn around on here and I'm like, yeah, I've got this really nuanced grievance and this. And Jake's telling me like, man, I just listen to music because it makes me happy and I like what I'm hearing. And I'm like, I'm like, shit, am I the asshole? Like,
No. Your opinion is very valid. Like, I have had that exact same opinion about a lot of albums this year. But this I Prevail album, it's just checking off all the boxes for me.
I'm
other than the closer.
So excited for awards season.
Oh yeah. This year in particular, I think there's been a lot to love this year more than any other year, to be honest. But I think
let's get into these last 2.
Yeah, exactly. 2 big names.
Somehow bigger names than I Prevail, who are like one of the biggest bands in the scene. Demi Lovato dropped a brand new album, Holy Fuck.
I know the part I played before.
Holy fuck.
All right.
Hey.
I like how you pronounce the U anyway. You just threw the V in there.
What else do you want me to do, man? Anyway, I feel like I'm the strongest advocate for this album here, if I had to
Yes.
assume.
I listened to one song on this album.
Oh.
Okay, so my general take on this album is that with the wave of like pop and rap artists coming into the pop punk and rock scene in like an MGK or an Olivia Rodrigo, I think this should be the standard
Yes.
that all of those pop stars are trying to achieve when going back to heavier rock guitar-based music. I don't think this album is doing anything terribly special outside of a few songs, but it's just quality pop rock. You take someone as talented as Demi Lovato, throw some guitars behind it, and it's just going to be good, you know? Like, she just has incredible vocals. And you take someone like me who's been very much growing to appreciate pop rock music, and this album just hits the spot for me. It's not doing anything special, but I enjoyed just about every song on here. The only one that didn't really do it for me was 29, which just has an odd chorus, and weirdly enough, I think that's one of the songs that's trending the most on social media. But just for me, 29's not doing much for me. But it's just solid pop rock from top to bottom. And I think this should be the blueprint. This is what I wish Olivia Rodrigo's album sounded like. And not to say I didn't hate it. There are a couple songs I really liked on there. But I think this should be a blueprint for anyone that wants to tap into this new wave of rock music in 2022 or in the next few years. This should be the blueprint. This should be the standard that you're trying to achieve. With that being said, I have one standout song in particular. Feature of the Year contender number 5 for the month of August. Eat Me featuring Royal and the Serpent. Holy fuck. That's the name of the album. That's also my reaction to when I heard that song. I think it's got one of my favorite lyrical choruses of the entire year. Just the wordplay is incredible. It really comes to fruition at the end of it. But I'm just gonna say the entire chorus here. I know the part I've played before. I know the shit that I've ignored. I know the girl that you adored. She's dead. It's time to fucking mourn. Which the aggression of that delivery is fantastic. But the second half is really where it kicks in to the whole "Eat Me" theme. I can't spoon feed you anymore. I can't spoon feed you anymore. Dinner's served. It's on the floor. I can't spoon feed you anymore. You'll have to eat me as I am. I just think the lyricism of that chorus is incredible. I love that shit. And then also, you kind of get a breakdown in that song. Whoever would have thought Demi Lovato breakdown 2022, but the breakdown says choke on it. It's like, yeah, this is who I am now. Fuck you. This is just who I love Eat Me. I am willing to go as far as say it's a top 5 song of the month from Demi Lovato. Which is not something I never would have expected to have said.
A Royal and the Serpent feature is like feature of the year.
Oh yes, dude. If a Royal and the Serpent feature this good exists on a Demi Lovato album, where the hell was it on Pity Party? Because if a feature this good, if Royal and the Serpent is capable of a feature this good on this album, look in what's the name of that fucking album by Stan Atlantic?
Fuck Everything and Run, Fear.
Fuck Everything and Run. Lock that in album of the year if you get a feature as good as the one on Eat Me, dude. It's insane how Royal and the Serpent can be featured on a bottom 2 album of a Stand Atlantic album, or bottom 2 song on a Stand Atlantic album, and a top 1 song, bar none, on Demi Lovato. It feels wrong, but I'm not complaining because Eat Me is fucking fantastic. I'm also going to give a shout out to a couple other songs I really liked. I really liked Holy Fuck, the title track. And I really liked Heaven. Heaven has a really groovy beat to it. And then Help Me with Dead Sarah, I also think is pretty solid. Haven't spent nearly as much time. But as I grew tired of the 3 songs I had on repeat, and Eat Me, Holy Fuck, and Heaven, Help Me was the next one that kind of came into rotation. And otherwise, like, it's all fun. Like, I can throw this album on and, like, by the time I get to the end, I'm not complaining. I don't really think, like, even 29 that I don't love, I don't think it's a skip. But like, this is just a very casual listening song or album that I can really enjoy from top to bottom.
Yeah, 29 I think is particularly strong lyrically, and I think that lyrics are also my biggest like downfall for this album. And it's not even that they're bad; I just can't relate to them.
Like I think Freak.
That's
to
how I
Eat
feel
Me,
about 29.
Yeah, Freak to Eat Me. Those 4 songs really good. The closer Forever
Yeah.
for me really really good. I think Holy Fuck through Feed. From what I can gather, the theme of this album is like female empowerment and especially like reclaiming your sexuality after you feel like it's been taken from you, which is what 29 is about. I think an older man like sexually assaulting you when you were underage and then trying to reclaim and figure out your sexuality and yourself as a woman after that. And I think that this is definitely like a bad bitch album. The problem is that I am not a bad bitch.
Yeah.
So I feel myself very tuned out with a lot of the lyricism because it's so in your face that it's just, I don't think this album was written for me. I will enjoy the first 4 tracks in that Royal and the Serpent feature, and I will enjoy this damn good closer, and I will leave the rest to people who need female empowerment. It's just not an album written for me. So I didn't, we just got done talking about, oh, it makes your ears happy, that the lyricism, I think, for me is a little too on the nose and specific to that subset for me to enjoy it. But I mean, overall, just a really solid album. And there are certain artists that should be making rock music, Demi Lovato, and there are certain artists that shouldn't, Olivia Rodrigo, and
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, and Machine Gun Kelly. We'll talk about that next. And I think that when you have that passion for this style of music rather than hopping on a trend, it shows. And I think Demi Lovato really demonstrates that she does have that passion for rock music, and she's got a reason to be pissed and have these guitars behind her music. That this style, I love her pop music, but this I think almost suits her even better.
As I said, this should be the standard.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Pop musicians transitioning over to rock. Which leaves us with one more album. I'm gonna shut up. I didn't listen to this at all.
Interesting.
blackbear has dropped his newest album, In Loving Memory.
Miss you, but I never really knew you at all. Forget you. Here's to all the years with no calls. Run through all these thoughts in my mind. Fuck you. I love you.
Justin, did you listen to this perchance?
Nope.
Okay, so it's me and
All right.
Jacob.
All right, I don't have much to say on it, but
Okay, go for it. Unless you want me to go first.
well, I really enjoyed the first 4 songs of this album,
Mm-hmm.
and then after I got to the Machine Gun Kelly feature, I was like, "Ugh." Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
And then after that, I didn't really vibe with much. I did enjoy "Fuck You, I Love You."
yes, it's probably my favorite song on here.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit a little cringy, but at the same time, it's like kind of accurate at the same time. So
Yeah.
I have the only songs I have saved are the first 4, and I think blackbear does pop punk pretty good. Honestly, like this is like I haven't really gone like I have a few blackbear songs saved,
Mm-hmm.
but like I haven't really like listened to a full blackbear album. I don't think ever, and I really enjoyed these first 4 songs a lot more than I thought I would.
So, I've been listening to blackbear for 7 years, so I've got I've got some credentials, and Dead Roses style blackbear's 2015 album where he's doing more hip hop, pop hip hop style. That's my favorite iteration of blackbear.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the vocal style to justify doing pop punk. And as much as I fucking hate Machine Gun Kelly, I think that if nothing else, MGK has the vocal style to do pop punk, that it's kind of deeper and harsher. And I think that blackbear's kind of airier vocal delivery lends itself a lot more to the style of music that he started off with. I think that there are some successes here. Nothing Matters, Painkiller, and Fuck You, I Love You are my 3 favorite songs and the 3 that I say. And I've gone back to them regularly. I think instrumentally it's whatever. It's very, bland, uninspiring. It's what every pop punk artist is doing nowadays, or mainstream pop punk artist. I think, I don't even think that it's necessarily that he doesn't succeed here. It's just that I don't like this trend of artists like this hopping on the pop punk trend unless this side of their music is good enough, like as good or better than what they were doing before to justify it.
I was under the impression that he started out because, like, I'm thinking of like He's on
Palisades
the Palisades
feature.
album. Yeah.
So he has roots in the scene. I mean, he's like a Knocked Loose fan and like
Yeah.
a scene kid at heart, but his original style of music is much more chill, think like Promoting Sounds type, very vibey, chill hip hop is his roots as far as I'm aware. Or as far back as I've been listening to him. And I think that artists like Machine Gun Kelly, Jaden, Little Huddy all feel very forced and disingenuous that they're hopping on a trend or making music that has no passion or soul. And I think even the features on their respective albums alone show this, in my opinion, because you've got like, hold on, let me pull up real quick the Machine Gun Kelly album from even just 2020. And you've got Halsey, Trippie Redd, blackbear, and then Eon Dior. You go to the other one. He brings in artists like Bring Me the Horizon, which is great, but then it's Lil Wayne, Gunna, Young Thug, blackbear, Willow, big names. As opposed to blackbear, who's pulling out Newfound Glory and The Used and Bayside. And it's like this, he understands what it means to do pop punk because he's a scene kid. You know, he's got the credentials to do it. He doesn't feel like he's just hopping on a trend. It's just, unfortunately, I don't think that he's able to pull off this side of what he wants to do as well as kind of his bread and butter hip hop. And so I'm left like, okay, this was okay. I've got 3 songs I really enjoy, but, you know, if he's doing what he loves and this is what he wants to do, then so be it. But I very much prefer that older style that he does, or his older style, and I think he's a lot better at it. Even that more kind of... He leaned a lot more into pop on Everything Means Nothing, the album from 2020, and that almost made my top 20 albums of that year. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I think that style, or hip-hop style, leans itself much more into his voice than this pop punk does. I mean, Hot Girl Bummer's got over 1 billion plays on it, so obviously like he was doing something right there, right?
Even I know that song.
Yeah.
So
You know, I don't think this is a bad album. I think it's definitely one of the better mainstream pop punk albums I've heard. It's just not good enough for what it is for me to want more blackbear pop punk, especially over his other style.
fair. See, I don't have those blackbear roots, so
You don't have the credentials.
You don't have the
don't.
credentials.
shit, eh?
You gotta get in there. Go
Believe
listen to
that.
Dead Roses. Dead Roses is a top album of all time.
Go listen to Dead Rose by Chelsea Grin.
Go listen to Dead Roses by Unprocessed.
Does that take
I
us
think that
full
wraps
circle?
us up. Holy fucking shit.
Holy fucking
That is our
shit.
longest episode,
Yeah,
I think.
well, other than our top 10 albums of the year episode from last year.
Jeez.
But the fact that this is even contesting with that is a problem. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next month. No more closing thoughts this time. We've already been here long enough. Go re-listen to the intro of this episode if you want. Follow us at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify. We do these episodes live at the beginning of the month, so come hang out in the YouTube live stream chat with us. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next month with more new music.
See ya.
Bye-bye.